Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another episode of The Keel Show. I'm your host for the first time in forever, Alex Keel, alongside me, the inside of the insiders, the workhorse of this show, since I've been off this show, like as a regular cast member, I guess you could say, as the regular host for about, I'd say a good 7 months, 8 months now. Tyler Keel.
Oh boy,
I didn't get the hello.
Hello, I'm sorry, I got the
there
hello.
It is.
Well, okay, this is the last one, Alex. It's
the
last one
for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
There's nothing as certain, or there is nothing as uncertain as a sure thing.
That is
Scotty
true.
Boatman.
That is
Hope
true.
I'm getting that right.
Oh man, we got a lot to get to. Well, we brought up the usual suspects. The Five Timers Club is here. The Beer League Hockey.
Five time.
But Alex, we must get to our first guest today. Because, well, he's on the phone right now.
He's
patiently
on the phone.
waiting. He's has other
patiently waited for me. Apologize.
Yeah, he's waiting for you. He's literally been waiting for like 3 hours because you decided, Alex, that you were going to take your sweet time and make sure you wait until the last possible minute.
Now that is rude.
That is 100%
I left
true.
at 5:22 and you decided to move cross town. That is you. I moved to your side of town.
I'm sorry. We got a
to
house, so we decided we could have a bigger house. So, I mean, it's a smaller studio. But anyways, get to him. He's got stuff to do tonight, Alex.
Ladies and gentlemen, the quintessential member of the Five Timers Club. The captain, none other than Thomas Biondo.
Let me just start off by saying it's because it's so important to me. Alex, I haven't been waiting 3 hours for you, so you don't have anything to worry about on that. Let me bust Tyler right away on that. I haven't been waiting 3 hours.
Well, I do appreciate you, at least for a couple minutes, waiting to talk to me, because I haven't talked to you in forever, Thomas. Hi, buddy. How you doing?
I'm well, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I saw that you were doing the game at Davenport the other night, as well as Tyler was. And
he was there. Him and I recalled it yesterday. It was the first game of the season, and I'm already mad at everything.
That's fine.
But you know what? Wildly entertaining, and I hope it's a sign of things to come because it was a really entertaining hockey game. So,
That's true.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Love to hear that. Well, as the resident east side of the Mitten State guy, we do have to talk about...
East side of the Mitten State guy? Dude, I'm sorry. I didn't write your intro, Alex. I'm sorry.
You don't have to write it. I got it. You know, I might have been out of the business for a hot second, but I got it. Don't you worry. But as the resident Detroit expert... I would say that we do have to talk about the Red Wings for quite at least 10 seconds. So I think we've been talking about 10 seconds. Next, on to the next subject.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about Detroit looking so far? Preseason hockey, things are coming together. What's your perspective of this team right now?
It's the front, the forwards. I'm still not overwhelmed with. I still think that this is a team that's going to struggle to score. And that was even before the Verana injury.
Yep.
I keep refreshing Twitter to see the official signing of Bobby Ryan, which I expect to happen. I kind of expected it to happen all off season, but then when Verana went down, I really thought that was kind of a done deal. With Bertuzzi having to miss the Canada games because of his vaccination status, it is what it is. So you're already taking out a guy that you would expect to score 20 to 25. He's going to be out a good, 10 games, however many trips to Canada you make. I think
it was 9. 9 was the official number.
Yeah, 9 was the number that I heard. You throw in, Tyler's an attacker, and he's gonna get hurt. He gets banged around, and so he's going to miss another 10 on top of that. So they're not deep, and they're already thin. Having said that, I do, on the other hand, like the defense. I like where it's going. It's obviously not a finished product, but the trade for Nick Leddy was kind of a Steve Yzerman special where I think everybody knew from the word go that trade was made to pair him with Sider. You have an offense, defense, they're opposite handed. It was just a make sense deal. What I like too about it is it now puts the Kaiser with Hronek, and they re-signed both Stahl and Stetcher. Actually, they re-signed Stahl. Stetcher was on a 2-year deal. And I know analytically, for what it's worth, that pair, not playing top line minutes, but that pair actually had some ridiculously good analytic numbers.
Right.
So I really like that. Gustav Lindstrom's ready to go in the wings as the 7th man up. He has shown flashes of being a full, being able to hold down a bottom pair. I mean, if they lose one of the big four, it's going to be trouble. But, that they're at least 7 deep with Jared McIsaac in the mix too. And then, the robbery of Nedeljkovic is really shored up the goaltending. They lost Bernier, who was spectacular, but for them,
for you guys, really maybe.
It was spectacular to keep a bad team in it. But with Nedeljkovic and Grice, the 1-2 punch is going to be okay. So if this team can find a way to get pucks into the net, again, I don't expect Lucas Raymond to be in the opening night roster. If it's Jeff Blash, will have the great line of, it had to be obvious even to his wife. And I just don't think that that's going to be the situation. And even with Verana out, again, I just don't see Raymond making the opening night roster. So scoring is going to be a struggle for this team, but I do like the direction, to be sure.
Yeah, that's a good point, because when I talked with Ken Cal a few weeks ago, he said the one concern that he had going into the season was, where is the goal scoring coming from? And that, to your point, that's a big thing. Now that was before Verana was out as well. Yeah. So now with that, the team takes a bigger hit. But you mentioned Lucas Raymond not playing for at least for this season. He may stay in Sweden. He may come to the American League. Haven't heard anything as of yet. But the guy that is coming back from Europe, who may start in Grand Rapids, may start in Detroit, the big defenseman Mo Seider. Now, Rachel Anderson from Access Hockey MI, she said he's most likely to start in Grand Rapids. That's a good point. Thomas, what do you think if he starts in Grand Rapids, if you believe he does, how long until he makes it up into Motown?
I wouldn't think. I actually did pen him into my opening night roster for what that's worth, which is really worth nothing, because it's not even on social media anywhere that I penned it in. So take that.
So it's not official. You can't post it on Facebook today.
No. Yeah, right, exactly. You know where it's penned in? It's penned in on NHL 21. I've got Mo Seider in my starting lineup. So that's where I can say I've got it penned in.
Should we tell them they've got to get NHL 22?
I will. Don't worry about it. I will, definitely. But I can't see it being long. This kid was so... I'm going to use the term dominant. I mean, I don't watch a lot of Swedish Elite League hockey, but the term dominant was...
Why wouldn't you?
I know. The term dominant was thrown around. And like I said, the Red Wing beat writers were, the thing with Leddy, too, that just really kind of drove it home for me almost more than anything else, because, I mean, the beat writer said this Leddy deal is almost a setup for Seider. So he may start down there. I forget wasn't there some wacky rules about 10 games and not playing 10? No, it's if you play over 10 games. He's going to play over 10 games.
Over 10 games, and you lose your first year of your ELC. That's correct.
I would bet the farm that he's playing over 10 games, and I would actually put a good portion of the farm that he's played 10 games by Christmas. If he doesn't start up, he will have played 10 games here by Christmas.
I thought Thomas lived in a condo.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, in any case, the proverbial farm.
Thank you. No. Thank you for understanding, Alex.
You're very welcome. That's why they had to bring me on for the last show. But no, I mean, it definitely. I like the way that this team looks right now. Like you said, you bring in people like Nick Leddy, and you have the opportunity of Mo Seider and Nedeljkovic. Even though he's let in 6 goals in 2 preseason games.
Yeah, but Freddie allowed like 9 one preseason. So.
Right. So I mean, it's you never really want to take your entire season and base it just on how preseason playoff performance is, because I mean, for a lot of teams, especially the Wings included, where you're not having you're not considered a cup contender by any means, but you're still something that is pushing forward. You're getting a lot of momentum. A lot of these players that are going to be bumping down and back between Detroit and Grand Rapids, they need to figure that kind of stuff out. I always love seeing on Cat Friendly that Giovanni Smith is on the Detroit Red Wings roster, signing a 2-year deal.
Great signing.
Love that. I mean, and he's just one of those other guys
he's just a nice guy too.
He is a nice guy, but he also has that kind of, I can play. He's a role player version of Tyler Bertuzzi, where I think Tyler has
a foot taller,
except for a foot taller, and damn it if I don't love that man.
Well, you're right though with Giovanni, and I'm just sorry to cut you, but I remember he had a game against Florida where, you have players where you say, man, they had to have gotten 12 to 15 minutes of ice time, and you look and it was 8:30, and then there's other players that are like, was he out there 15 minutes? And then you see it was 19. Well, Giovanni Smith is the former. He's the one where he makes something happen every time he's out there. So he seems like he's out there so much more than he really is. I believe he had a Gordie Howe hat trick last year. I mean,
so.
I would not put it past him.
He's not gonna. I don't think anybody in Detroit expects him to put up Tyler Bertuzzi numbers.
No.
But in terms of he's exactly what you want on your third and fourth line, that's to be sure.
That is to be sure.
I think. Well, and I keep making the comparison. He is the younger Wayne Simmons. And people, I swear it's not just because he's black. I swear it's because he's just that tough. He's that strong, and when he's out there, he causes havoc and makes defense miserable.
And
like
he can
Wayne
perform.
Simmons.
He can perform.
Yes,
and he's one of those players that you don't expect him to. Like you said, you're not going to expect him to put up Tyler Bertuzzi numbers, but any given night, he could get a goal and an assist, and he can really help in the shutdown. On the offensive side, the shutdown defense that Detroit really needs sometimes when you're playing teams that they're heavy in the offensive zone and they'll keep throwing the puck on you. I don't think that, I haven't seen the complete, full roster as far as, whether Giovanni Smith's going to be on the penalty kill or not, but he definitely takes me as a guy that could serve that role of, hey, eat up all those penalty killing minutes, and then when you're on 5-on-5, have him in the third or fourth line, that he can shut down a second line or a first line kind of player. That's why I really like him. Also, too, he can fight, and I personally like that. It's just a love of mine. With that, like you said, Jacob Vrana is out for 4 months after shoulder surgery. I'm trying to think here. I'm just happy to be here, guys.
Well, okay. Well, so Thomas. First of all, the reason why we call Thomas the captain of the Five Timers Club, for those that don't remember, because there's a lot of people, according to our analytics, have joined in the last few months.
Sure.
Thomas won his right to be the captain, beating out, second guest of the show today, Harrison Watt in a Detroit Trivia Battle of the Century. Man, it's been so long I can't even say it anymore. And because Thomas has been a fan. Thomas, when did you say that you really got into the Wings? You and I were talking about this, I think it was last year, a couple years ago. There was like a year that you went full Wings.
Yeah, so I remember knowing that it was an upset when they lost to the Sharks and Leafs in back-to-back years. But it was, it was that year that they played the Devils that I believe that there was a certain amount of games that was on Channel 50, WJBK, I think it was back then, I think is what it was. And
Strader.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yep, David Mickey. And so that was when it started. I remember watching a lot of that playoff run. And then by the time 96 happened, I was all in on them.
Picked a great time to be there. They make it to the finals, get upset the next year, and then finally win it. So I guess if you got it, you started high there, Thomas.
Yeah, and in my defense, I mean, it's not like I was a bandwagon fan that joined at 21. I think I was, in 95, I would have been 9. So, I mean, I was or 95 would have been 11, excuse me. So I was still young enough to still get my feet into the sporting world. And yeah, it was a good time to join, though, in the beginning stages of that long playoff run.
Probably I don't know how long this one will take, because Thomas and I literally almost got into a fight before the third period yesterday over this, because the Lions decided that they were going to. They were rough yesterday. They go to the red zone 3 times, Alex, don't score. Okay, They lose by 10 points. If you even do the math, if they got 3 field goals on those, they would only lost by 1. Thomas and I almost got into a fight during the second intermission over this. Thankfully, we're off air when we almost punch each other. I got to ask a question, though, Thomas. What is more likely this season? The Red Wings finish above 500 or the Lions win 4 games?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Thomas picked a great year not to get season tickets this year, I should probably mention. He's been a season ticket holder forever. He stops this year.
The Lions win 4 games or the Red Wings finish 500.
Above
Correct.
500. So they have to win 43 games. And
no, I mean, they could be 35, 34, and however many ties that was, right?
Oh, yeah, fine. Whatever. So, yeah, no Bettman 5.
Because that makes a difference. If you're telling me they have to win 42, then there's no way I'm going.
They need more wins than they do regulation losses.
I'm still going to go Lions. I think they're 1 year away.
Well, the Red Wings are the Lions.
Well, the Lions are more than a year away. And here's why. Because I again, love what Steve Yzerman's doing, but there's no depth here yet. There's no depth. And that's when good teams lose players, when Kucherov misses the entire season to make the cap, you have Braden Point and Steven Stamkos and Victor Hedman. If the Wings lose really anybody that's expected to score 20 goals, they've already lost Vrana. So on top of that, they lose Larkin, They lose Fabry. They lose, Pius Suter for any length of time. It could get bad. So I just think that and injuries happen. So I don't think that this is going to be a 500 team yet. I think they're going to be close. I think that they are. I do really believe that they will be close. And in March, there may be discussion of should we trade off or should we stand pat. They may end up trading off, but for the most part, between those two, I don't like either. I don't like either. But between those two, I think it's the Lions winning 4.
Okay.
Well, they should have won yesterday. They can probably beat Minnesota next week.
Well, they're playing without 2/5 of their offensive line now with Ragnow out, and then Romeo Okwara has come down with an Achilles.
We're going to lose to Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
Yeah,
Holland, Christian,
Yes.
Kirk Cousins.
Yes. This franchise, the franchise is in a lot of trouble, no doubt about it.
Same
And they still have
Lions.
to play Matthew
Same
Stafford
Lions.
the week after that, isn't that right? They play Stafford after that?
Oh,
In
my
October.
goodness.
I know it's in October for sure.
Yeah, it's
That's
great.
gonna
We're
be
going to go
great.
winless this month. It's going to be awesome.
Isn't that in Detroit too?
No, it's in
No.
it's in LA. I almost said St. Louis.
Oh,
It's in LA. It's in Inglewood, excuse me. Inglewood. So
Inglewood.
They can't
wherever-
put us, yeah.
Wherever that monstrosity is built.
Holy cow. Well, wouldn't you like that if that was instead? Well, I don't know. Would you? Okay, I know I said last question, Thomas. I know you got to go quickly. Would you want something different than Ford Field?
No, I love Ford Field.
Okay, that's all I needed.
Love Ford Field.
Ford Field's pretty.
Okay, did
pretty-
you ever go to the
pretty sick.
Silverdome?
Yeah. Oh, Ford Field blows the Silverdome away.
Well, then again, it's newer and stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Right,
it's
but
like
I mean,
it's like
those-
Little Caesars versus Joe Louis Arena. As
Joe
much
Louis
as I-
Arena
as much
because
as
the
I
team was
love
more
Joe-
successful there.
As much as I love
You know
Joe
what it
Louis, what? Go ahead,
Yeah,
Thomas.
it was because the Silverdome it was the stadium at the time. It was a concrete monstrosity with no decoration. It
And
was
they
just
won.
stadium. That's what. No, I'm talking the Silverdome. It was just concrete and paint. Like now everything's nice, or you get the open exposed pipes at Ford Field and all those kind of things. The Silverdome was literally just concrete and AstroTurf and blue seats. No frills, nothing. We're lucky we had grills for hot dogs. I mean, that was just stadium. And that's how they were built back then.
Right.
But Ford Field has got all the amenities that you want. So I'm a big fan of Ford Field.
And a big boy. Was the big
And
boy
a
still
big
there?
boy.
The big boy's still there, yeah.
And a big boy and a hopcat. You used to be able to get
Whoa,
the crack
that's
fries
new.
or whatever they're calling it. Yeah,
See,
that,
you got to
they
get back
had
to
a
marching
power.
bands. We have a reason to go back there now.
No.
there you go.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I could, but
Yeah, anyways. Thomas, you got to get going. I know you got to endeavor to one of your friends. And first of all, thank you so much for jumping on the show all the time that you did. Even when I texted you late Sunday night or early Monday morning saying, hey, Thomas, you bored tonight? And you came on, and for being a
Absolutely. It was a pleasure, and it's why I wanted to give you at least some time today, because you guys are so great at what you do and meant so much to me,
He's really
giving me
nice.
the invitations to get to be out there. So thank you very much, guys. Congratulations and continued success for both of you.
You going to say goodbye, Alex?
I'll say goodbye, Thomas.
Goodbye, Alex. Goodbye, Tyler.
I wanted to make sure it was good.
Thomas Biondo, ladies and gentlemen. Davenport, broadcast legend, Thomas Biondo. What a guy. What a pal.
What a guy. What a pal.
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
We didn't really get a chance to say hello because we had Thomas right at 6 o'clock. So
we did right on the dot 6 o'clock.
Well, we have a few minutes before we have Harrison Watt on. He's coming at 6:30. We probably should tell him who else is on. We got Peyton Turnage at 7:30.
We do. Harrison Watt at 6:30, like you said. We
and
got
then we
some
get-
news.
So we'll break the news
Oh
in a
my
little bit.
gosh.
We'll talk with news with Peyton a little bit more. Harrison's going to be a little more college hockey. So, hi, Alex. How have you been?
I've been okay. Been okay right now. Currently jobless.
That's why he's here, folks. That's literally why, because he's jobless.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I have a walkthrough down in Kalamazoo tomorrow morning.
Don't jinx
but
it.
I'm not.
Don't
I'm
jinx it.
just saying that I have one.
He's walking down in Kalamazoo.
I have a walkthrough in Kalamazoo.
with hopeful protection because
With hopeful
it's Kalamazoo.
What? It's a lot better. It's a lot better. Battle Creek's a lot better. You haven't driven down there.
Battle Creek. Yes.
Battle Creek's a lot better. Kalamazoo's still a lot.
Alex, I report the news.
Kalamazoo's a lot better. It's not great, but it's a lot better. That being said, no, I've been doing good. Have the apartment that me and Miss Katie are in.
Yes.
Just,
How is she doing?
she's doing good. She is currently the coach at the Grand Ledge Pompon for their middle school team. So she's out there right now, and then after that, she goes to Davenport University Pompons practice because she's doing both of those.
She's what, her 7th year now?
7th year. Actually, yes. I think so, because she got her degree in 6 years because she decided to change her major twice. And then she's going currently for a marketing certificate, I believe, through their master's program. So
okay.
that's what she's doing. She's doing good. Got good old Tommy Boy, the cat, the actual
Thomas.
cat.
The reason why Alex meow is for Thomas because Katie started doing that when we had the peanut gallery in the basement.
Yes, the peanut gallery down in the basement of Nana's.
Yes, long time. That's been 2 years now, eh? Because I moved here in 2019. I moved in 2019. Yeah.
You mean since we did a show in the basement at Nana's?
Yeah, it's been 2 years.
At least.
Yeah, I know we did a couple where I went over there because you couldn't make it to my apartment.
Well, you were at your old apartment, the one that you and Kelly had for about. That was 2 years.
We were there for 2. We were there for 2 years. Yeah, so it's been 2 years.
So 2 years plus. So 2 years and change.
Yeah, 2 years, and of course, I only did the podcast. See, we didn't have time with Thomas because I would have loved to have talked about with him because we had him. He was one of our first guests. Well, Steve Dangle was our first one.
Steve Dangle was our official first guest.
Harrison Y, I think, was our second. Thomas came along because I totally forgot that he had his own podcast, and once I found out, we blew it up with him. Of course, then again, Harris and Thomas and Peyton. The reason why they're probably members of the Five Timers Club is because we just ran them into the ground during the playoffs and the bubble playoffs.
We did. Well, I mean, it's what we had to do. It's what we wanted to do. There was nothing else to do.
Yes, that's how we got Stephen Ellis to come on board. I'm going to try to say as many guest names that we've had in the past because there is a lot.
I could just go to the
go to the episode. Let's probably find it.
Spotify.
That's the reason why. That's why I had to have Cody Jansen on last week because he would be the goaltender of our. I'd say ball hockey team because Thomas doesn't really skate, and he would try to be goaltender.
Hey, I play ball hockey.
That's what I'm saying. Cody would be the goaltender because he played goal.
You have Chris King. You have Isha Jerome.
Oh, Isha Jerome was cool too.
I did say that correct.
Jerome. Yep. From
Like
Vancouver
Rachel
Island.
Anderson, Thomas Biondo, like we said, featuring a lot of people.
Which one was that? The Sabres are bad. So that was the one.
Jordan Deshane.
I had
Louis Panone, Zach Martin was.
What was the other one? Was that? Oh, that was when I had Bruce Levine on. I had one more person. Click the episode.
I forgot
it was Bruce Levine. Oh, that's when I had Peyton.
And then you had Peyton too.
Yeah. So there's like 3 or 4. Okay, you can't put 4 names in a title because it won't fit.
Right.
But there's that. But the going back to the one I was talking with Thomas was that first pandemic episode. Literally, you didn't come.
No.
Because, pardon me, there was the one. So right after the NHL announced the pandemic, because we had done the episode the week before, how's COVID going to affect the NHL? We're talking about what could happen. Then you came the next week, and then we did a show. Really didn't know what we were doing. The next week, Thomas and I just talked for an hour and a half about anything. Just 90 minutes of him and I just talking.
Right. Well,
that's why I can never say bad things about Thomas because the fact that he stuck with that, he literally ended the show. I'm like, Tyler, we've been talking for 90 minutes. Can I go home? And I'm like, yes, 100%. So yeah, who the heck is texting me right now? Who is?
Let's see. I'm just going to keep going down the list of the people that you've had on the show. Louis Panone, Zach Martin, Dan Rice with
Dan
State
Rice.
of Hoppy.
Oh, State of Hoppy. State of Hoppy's fun. That's the bummer about. See, that's the one
Pat
bummer.
Megaletti, Tony Ferrari, Laura Astorian, Matthew.
You remember Laura
Estevez? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Gotta have Cody Jansen, Stephen Ellis, the Curfew Boys.
From Montreal. See, like I said, before you go, we'll go to break here in just a moment. You'll have to remember how to send us out of break, Alex.
Yes.
But that's the one bummer about my doing the new Locked On Capitals is that while I do update people on some of the national stuff, it's not the focus. My focus is obviously on Capitals. So that's being the one bummer. I'm going to bring on some people, especially the Caps play a lot of teams in the Metro. I actually am going to be on the Locked On Flyers show tomorrow to talk to do a little interdivisional preview with Rachel over there. That's going to be cool. But I'm just
you could talk about some of the allegations going towards them too.
Oh, we'll probably talk about that in a little bit later on.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Oh, we have to talk about that. I spent my morning I was looking at, TSN and,
we'll get to it.
And I was like,
we'll get to it. But
read off this headline and Katie was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, no. But that's the thing is I'm not going to be able to do as much national stuff. And like I said, maybe something comes up later on down the line. Maybe Alex gets bored in Battle Creek or whatever.
Battle Creek. This with the job that I'll have, during actual hockey season, I will have evenings kind of to myself in theory.
Will you, Alex? Will you?
I definitely won't be doing as much during the off season, but the one thing I will say about this is, pushing the forward show pushing the show forward before we go to break is that Tyler has cultivated this fantastic product for you guys.
Don't you dare pump my tires now.
I'm going to pump your tires because he spent a lot of time, energy, and money into making sure that he's got a fantastic microphone. He's got the headset.
This I didn't purchase.
He didn't purchase.
All these cords, though.
The camera, making sure that
your laptop, my laptop,
making
this mug.
He did full production of OBS.
This thumbtack.
Everything that you see, other than the logo itself, it was designed for us. But all that kind of stuff he did. And he made a very, very quality product about that. And
my ego's big enough, Alex. I don't need this.
Moving forward, if we decided to push with me being the host, permanently for an extended period of time,
whoa!
If something comes up.
If you wanted to come back, Alex, don't know.
I'm just saying.
I told everyone this is gonna be the most Mick Foley retirement in the history of mankind. We will come back at mankind. Get it? Mankind, get it?
Yes. Blah blah blah.
Like 3 weeks from now, we're back and it'll be like all this sappy BS that we're doing today.
I'll just say this: the show is gonna have good quality consistently, and that's why he's ran it so well. So if I run it, if we run it together, we want to make sure that's done properly. So with that, we're going to go to break here. We have none other than Harrison Watt coming on here. We're going to talk about Ferris State as well as some CCHA hockey. That's just college hockey for us normal
Central
people.
Collegiate Hockey Association.
And with that, we'll see you noon. Bye-bye. Turn me up first.
Listen, it's the last show, and I don't want to turn the mic on anymore.
And we are back here on the Keel Show, here on 12 Ounce Sports. Thank you once again, Thomas Biondo, for being on, talking about Detroit hockey. Now, our next guest, another member of the Five Timers Club.
The alternate captain of the Five Timers Club.
Captain.
The man who lost the Detroit Battle Trivia Battle of the Century battle.
Yes, the alternate captain, would you prefer left wing or right wing on the first line there, Harrison?
Which side doesn't play defense? Whatever side that is, that's where I belong.
I'll say left wing in that case then.
I feel like we'd be on defense. Anyways.
The starting left winger for the Keel Show ball hockey team at some sort of charity classic sometime 5 years in the future. None other than the Ferris State play-by-play voice, the voice of the Bulldogs, Harrison Watt.
Woo! On for a 95th time.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, the Five Timers Club times X, Y, and Z plus 2, carry the 5, and then add whatever makes it 95.
Cubic feet. Throw a 3 up there.
Exactly.
Throw a 3 up there in the corner. Harrison, how you doing, man?
I'm not bad. It was a good weekend, so I'm excited. Excited to be on. Excited we got through that weekend in good order and stayed healthy and got a win.
Well, the craze. So for those that don't know, for those that are dumb and don't follow college hockey, Ferris had a Saturday-Sunday weekend. That's why I was confused with Harrison. I totally forgot they played on Sunday. They played the Miami Redhawks. You lose 7-4 on Saturday. Tough one, wild game. Sunday, though, it happened. For the first time in 19 months, the Ferris State Bulldogs defeated a Division I team when they beat the Redhawks in overtime. Stepan Pokorny, the game winner. And I got to hear Harrison's call. Harrison, a great call as always. And you almost lost your voice at the end of it.
Yeah, I also tackled my color guy. I feel kind of bad about it.
Yeah, the new guy
when
brings in, he tackles the intern.
It's fine.
when I turned sideways, my entire right arm was tangled in the wire to his headset, like in a knot you couldn't even imagine. And his headset's off, like in his hand. He's like looking at me like, "What? Are you okay?" I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry."
When you
Put his
interviewed
headset cord into a figure 4 hand lock, I suppose.
when you interviewed him, did you say, "Hey, when we win, I'm gonna probably punch you in the face"?
No, I didn't know that it was gonna. Well, I think maybe I can start with the story of how the game ended, so that it makes sense as to why I did this. So, we're down 2-1 going into the third, and then I thought, in the third period when bad teams are down, I feel like they play helter skelter and try and do everything they can to, get back in the game. They make more mistakes. We kind of played like it was like a downhill running game in the fourth quarter of a football game. Like we didn't panic, but we started to take over and dominate the period. We tied the game with about 3.5 minutes to go. We drew a penalty. Then we drew another one, which probably should have been a 5-minute major, looking back at it. So we're on a 5-on-3, and I'm like, all right, 5-on-3, inside 2 minutes to go. We're in good shape. And we take the lead, still on the power play for the rest of regulation, and then it was going to be like 9 seconds into overtime. So we have the power play still. Miami pulls their goalie. It's 5-on-5, and there was a weird change, and we had 4 forwards out there, and we blew a coverage in front of the net, and Miami ties the game. And I'm like looking around like, how do they do that? Like, you've got to be kidding me. Here we go again. I'm like literally at this point about to throw myself out of the press box, like right out the front.
Well, it's not that hard. It's pretty open.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You just walk over the ledge.
Just swan dive.
we go to overtime. I'm like, all right, as long as we win the opening faceoff, we're on a power play still. We can get down the ice, get in the offensive zone, establish the possession. Well, we don't. Then we take a penalty. Our best penalty killing forward is going to the box.
Oh.
So now Miami is cycling the puck around in our end. And I'm like, it's just a matter of time. There's so much space. They got a couple of really good power play weapons. And they throw a bad pass across the slot. Blake Evanow got a good stick on it. We go up the ice. And McCorney is just trying to get the puck into a spot that's going to allow us to get a few new bodies on the ice and just kill a little time. We still have like a minute left in the penalty kill. Throws it on goal, and the goalie kicks it out to his right. And I'm looking at it, I was like, that was a really bad rebound. And before I knew it, McCorney had jumped around the guy and thrown it on goal. And I was like, we won? Like, how do you score shorthanded 4-on-3? No, like, after all the momentum turned the opposite direction, we won. And so that's why I went nuts, because I was, 4-on-3 penalty kill in overtime. I'm looking around like, man, well, I'm going home disappointed for another week.
Yeah.
But no, not today. And Pokey's credit, it was an unbelievable play. I mean, he really showed off the hard work he did in the offseason to get himself ready. To make that, to get around the guy after throwing it on goal was, if you watch it a few times, it's not easy what he did.
No.
Yeah, I definitely think that goalie's going to be practicing where exactly he puts his rebounds from now on.
Use your stick, kids. Always. That's what Joe Messina always said. Stick placement, direct the rebound in the corners. Don't kick him out into the high slot, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but I mean, I couldn't. I was trying to think as you were going through that story, Harrison. I was trying to think what movie it was from. It was a sports movie, but it's like the thought of, we won, we won, we did it,
We
did
won?
it!
I can't believe it. Well,
I feel bad. I feel bad saying it like that because, like, Tyler, you've been to a bunch of the games. Like, we've been in a lot of those games, and like, were you at the one against Minnesota State where we almost won last year and then lost in overtime?
Well, that last year was painful. I was there for probably, I think, half the home games, and don't forget there was Northern Michigan too. Northern Michigan went to overtime, and that was a game that we thought like this could be it because Northern was good, but they weren't as good as they had been in the past. And then they take on Minnesota State. Dryden McKay had only given up 3 or more goals up until that point once. He had a goals against average, Alex, heading to that game below 1 for the season, and he was the number 1 guy. He should have won the Richter. He should have won. I don't care what anyone says. He should have been the Richter, especially since he was just a Hobie Baker finalist as it was. but that's another time we're there. But that game, because here's the crazy part, and this is why a lot of people blew up on my Twitter. He got pulled in that game. Dryden McKay was pulled from a game, Alex, that he started, which was unfathomable. Alex, it was more likely to find out that Obi-Wan Kenobi was the bad guy in the Star Wars saga. That was more likely to happen than Dryden McKay getting pulled. However, he gets pulled, think, oh my gosh, the Bulldogs are going to do this. And then they come storming back. The Mavericks have to ruin it for everybody and win it in overtime.
Well, I guess that, I mean, when you put it that way with Obi-Wan Kenobi being seen as the bad guy, you really put it into perspective, don't you?
I'm just saying. That's the best reference I can go off the top of my head right now, Harrison.
Fair enough.
But, I mean, I look at it, and, like, we were in a lot of these games. It's not like we got blown out every night. Like, we played good teams hard. The guys kept working hard. The attitude was never bad. It's not like it was, like, we were just some sad sack team that, like, couldn't keep up with people. Like, we just, we had bad breaks. We were young. Bad things happened. But I think eventually you just win that game. And it was funny because I went into the locker room after and kind of wondered what the guys were going to be like. And it was less of, oh, my God, we finally won, and more of, this isn't a big deal. We need to be doing this every week. So I think they got the right attitude. And we're in better shape. We're more talented than we were a year ago. And, I feel good. I feel pretty good about this team. And that's a Miami team that's not bad. They're well coached. They're hard to play against. So I'm really happy with that win.
And Harrison, to the Bulldogs' credit, they've, at the very least in my eyes, maybe it's just because I'm just down the highway from you. Ferris
he lives in Grand Rapids, now, right?
Well,
he lives
talking about the Ferris State University.
Big Rapids,
taking, US 131 up north.
Yes. You can take M37 if you want to. If you want to waste 4 hours.
I prefer 131. It's just a lot prettier.
Anyways,
I've always thought of, Ferris State's just been one of those teams that they're really good. They're just, there's kind of like not a disconnect. There's just like a weird gray area, whereas like you have the best teams of college hockey, and you have like kind of that like weird area where you don't. I mean, you're a good team, but no one really outside of your state that knows your team well is going to really think, oh, I mean, Ferris State. I mean, unless like Tyler, you follow college hockey very well, Harrison. Because I mean, it's kind of your job, so you have to. But I've always thought, Ferris State's a really good hockey team. Like, I mean, if you guys wanted to play an exhibition game versus Davenport's D1 team, it would be a 21-0 game, and I would cheer every second of it.
And
even
Paul Loudon will cry.
Hey, you know what? He would, because I was like, I used to be on that team. I used to be
all-time leading goal scorer and point scorer for Ferris State University, Paul Loudon.
But
yes, sir.
So you guys have this good culture around this team. And like you took a quick second to talk about it. You have a lot of good expectations for this season and this team, right? Because you're a lot stronger than you were last year. Where do you think this team's going to go as far as wins versus losses? Do you think there's a few key players that someone like myself, who's not I watch every single Bulldog game? Are there a couple players that I should keep my eye on? What's the season going to be looking like for Ferris State hockey?
I'm an optimist, and people are probably going to call me crazy, but there's a path to 18 to 20 wins there this year. I mean, it's not going to be easy by any stretch, but if our guys are going to play like they did in the third period last night and then the first period the other night, I think the sky's kind of the limit for this team. And the one thing is people aren't going to be expecting us because they looked at it as, well, they'll play us hard, but they'll make a mistake when it matters and they'll lose. Like that's just kind of what teams are, for whatever reason, expecting. And
sure,
I don't know that that's going to be the case anymore. So I think we're a hard out. Whether we finish in the middle part of the conference or a little bit higher, I don't really know. It's going to be a tough league this year. The CCHA is off to a good start. We got some work to do. I mean, that's the other thing is, not like they're going to be easy games we're playing, but I feel pretty good. Just about the way that things are going right now. As for guys to look out for, God, it's weird. We have, it almost feels like we got like 16 or 17 guys that are fairly equal skill that have, different high-end talents. I like Marshall Moyes a lot. When he's healthy, he's just really tough. He's tough to mark. He's fast. He's big. He's strong. Good shot.
Is he 230 now?
No, Mark. Yeah, no. Huh. But he's matured a lot. You could, in a lot of ways, you could make that joke, but he has matured a lot as a player, as a man. He's a good dude. I think you guys, I mean, Pokorny's goal was just kind of the tip of the iceberg last night. He's a good centerman. He's hard to play against. He likes to dish out punishment when he has the puck, which I kind of enjoy watching. It's pretty funny to see him want to hit everything in sight. Justin McCallion is a tough player to play against, good scorer. I mean, we got a lot of guys. On the blue line, we got some guys that really showed out last year. Ben Schulteis, when he was playing 30 minutes a night as a freshman with no Division I strength and conditioning because we didn't have a preseason last year to do it.
Right.
And he comported himself pretty well. I mean, he was really good this weekend too. I mean, he's probably our best all-around defenseman right now. Justin McKillion's twin brother joined us from Robert Morris, really good offensive defenseman, big one-timer. So there are a lot of guys to watch. The goaltending looks better. Logan Stein, I thought he was excellent last night. He made a couple of saves that, I mean, it was the best he's looked since he's been here. And we had high expectations when he got here last year and just really got in the weight room, got in really good shape, and I liked it a lot. So I think the sky's the limit. I think we got a lot of good pieces. It's just a matter of, can we consistently come out every night and give that same type of third period effort we gave? And not that the other periods are bad, but, I thought our third period, we just imposed our will on a team that was really well coached, hyper aggressive, and hard to play against.
I'm just writing down these notes for this Saturday. Harrison says this about this guy and this about that guy. Perfect. Got it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you say you got 16 and 17 guys that have like certain key features, but they're at that kind of same level. I would take that team any day versus, teams that, they have a guy. I mean,
A guy.
Even in college hockey, when you compare it to pros, you're going to have people that go down with injury, sickness, how things will play out if there's any sort of like COVID going around campus, that kind of stuff. You'll have to, kind of fill in the blanks here and there. But when you have an equally matched or an equal like playing field as far as, hey, I have all these guys that know how to do their jobs and they can do it well. That's something that I like to see. But we do have a question for you,
Fan question, if you will.
A fan question, if you will. Peyton asks, ask him about calling a game on the couch. So, Harrison, what was it like calling a
Peyton's watching, man.
hockey game on the couch?
It was borderline one of the most miserable experiences of my life. I can't even begin to tell you how much I hated it. Like, excuse me, it was so bad. So, backstory: what happened is, this would have been January. We were getting ready to play Bowling Green, and actually, what happened? We had just finished a hockey game the night I was working. I don't remember who we played, but I was getting ready to leave the rink. Somebody asked me to work basketball, and I was like, yeah, okay. So I stuck around to work basketball. At that time, I just moved to Grand Rapids, so I had an hour commute. So I was like, this is really going to make my night late. And I sat next to a couple people. I was doing PA because our PA guy just didn't show up. And the next morning I came in and found out that the person I was sitting next to had tested positive for COVID.
Oh, jeez.
And so our athletic trainer looked at me and he goes, you got to go home. You're in quarantine. I got driven an hour up, and he found out 2 minutes before I walked in the door. And so I turn around and go home. I'm pissed. Like I'm livid at this point because not only am I in quarantine, but I had slept next to, at that time, my girlfriend, now my fiance, all night. So I'm like, all right, well, if I was exposed to it, she's definitely exposed to it. So, we were concerned for our safety for a little bit. We kept testing negative. That was the good news, but it meant I was going to miss 2 home broadcasts against Bowling Green and 2 road broadcasts at Huntsville. And I, was kind of looking forward to the Huntsville trip, nicer weather. And I think it was in the 70s when our guys went.
That's just me.
Yeah, but at that time it was kind of miserable weather up here, so I was like, it'll be nice for a weekend. So I decided, the first 2 games, the home games, I can't call them from my couch. We don't have the infrastructure to do it and make the TV stream work. So my boss called them.
Yep, Rob and Sandy, right?
Yep, Rob Bentley, Sandy Golson. They did a really good job, especially for people that haven't called a lot of hockey before.
Right.
Rob Rob used a lot of football terminology, which made me laugh. Had a good time with that because he's a football broadcaster. And then the next weekend, I had my broadcast gear. I set up my living room into a broadcast studio. I think I nailed a blanket over the big arch into our living room to dampen the sound so it didn't sound terrible. I used another laptop to pipe in music so that it sounded like I was in a rink, and ice noises. And I actually had Casey, my fiance, doing it, which she wasn't really entertained about. So she's in the living room with me.
She's probably just giving me the eyeball. I'm like, I hate that I'm here. Click, click, click.
I kept saying that too on the air. And I think I referenced Murph, the pup commentator, my dog, a few times, who was chewing on my headset cord at one point.
Oh, that would have been something.
Yeah, that's no good. So I'm on the couch, live stream, doing off Wi-Fi too, which I usually don't do because the connection's not as good. So I'm doing this game. The stream, the camera work was a little choppy, hard to watch, and puck is going out of focus and it's too wide. It's I can't see players perfectly the way I want to. And I'm just, it's miserable. And we didn't play very well either, which made it worse.
Don't tell Peyton that. He's got a different story on that side.
Yeah. So the first night we scored late twice to take 2 late leads, blew them both. One of them with 2 seconds to go, and then lost in overtime.
Yep.
The next night we just were flat and didn't play well. Lost 2-0, and it was hard. I think the result made it worse. Actually, you know what the worst part was I was in such a bad mood after the second game. I was like, you know what? I really want a Frosty. Like, the only thing in the world I want is a Frosty right now. So I get in the car. I go over to Wendy's. Wendy's is closed.
Oh.
I drive 10 miles to the one on Alpine. We don't have ice cream right now. And my ice
cream machine's broken at nighttime. Don't you know that?
I threw a fit. Like, I was miserable to be around. I was like, I got to get out of this quarantine. This is the worst. And no, it's not fun. You're not in the rink. It sucks. It's the worst. It's the worst way to call hockey games. So Peyton, I hope you never have to do that. And if you do, I hope your team doesn't throw away a couple of 1-goal leads in the last minute of regulation.
He's got something to say about that. We got him in about over half-hour time here, but it's
that.
I actually did do one. So the senior night for D3 when they played D2, I was in quarantine as well because there was contact tracing and whatnot. So we had the camera there. We literally did a Google Meet where the camera was at the rink. It was connected to the so the sound was everything was coming from the rink. It came back to my laptop. I broadcasted the game from my couch. Difference though about Harrison, he's talking about calling off a computer. I had my 59-inch TV that I could see. So that was the nice part. I was able to sit there and call the game or whatever. So there was still a little bit of crowd noise and whatnot. And everyone's like, "Wait, you weren't at the game like when I came back the next week?" Because at that point I've been out. I'm like, "Oh, Tyler, you called the game? Like I didn't know you weren't there. It sounded like you were there." And I'm like, "Thanks. I didn't know what the heck was going on. I could tell who shot and scored and whatnot."
Hey, that was the point. I mean, it's magic.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta make it seem like you don't know.
I have a good sized TV in my living room, but the camera quality. I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds. I don't want to rip on anybody, but
Peyton will for you.
Camera quality was lacking. It was tough to watch, and then there was the worst part was they had a camera like in the corner, like on the glass that they kept going down to during play, and then the play would go to the other end of the ice, and I would just start
switch.
I would just start making stuff up. Like, I was like, this person passes and then they'd come back down the ice. I was like, oh, that person wasn't on the ice. And I was just making it up the whole time.
Quick line change.
The perfect radio part there. So before we let you go, Harrison, we got a little bit more time with you. Let's get into the CCHA in general here. Obviously, it's the return of it, a much anticipated return. For a lot of us, that's what we grew up on. We watched CCHA absolutely. On Fox Sports Detroit on every Friday night, it seemed like.
CCHA hockey.
Well, of course, it's a little bit of a different outlook. Ferris, Lake State, and Bowling Green, I believe. Well, Northern was in the CCHA for a minute. Actually, no, they were at the end. Tech was not. But so there's only a few teams from the original CCHA that we all knew, Harrison, and you did as well. But it's great to have it back. Obviously, we talked with Pat Micheletti about it as well, and according to you, and of course, One of the guys running up there, one of the big wigs up there, Dominic Hennig, former Ferris State broadcaster, was Ferris State's broadcaster during the time of the CCHA. Let's kind of look at the conference here. It's a lot of it is the WCHA from last year. A couple teams obviously out. St. Thomas, the only real new team in. Let's go from the bottom to the top here, and I only say the bottom because unfortunately St. Thomas had to go up against St. Cloud State this past weekend. Didn't go too well. Harrison, what do you think about the Tommies coming up here? I mean, it's a first-year program. They jumped from Division III to Division I. That is not an easy jump for even the best Division III teams.
Yeah, I think they're going to be better than a lot of people think, though. You got to remember a couple things. One, St. Cloud State's the defending national runner-up. They graduated like nobody. Like they're mad. Like they're just out to get people. They're gonna do that to good teams. Like they're good. They're a really good team, and that's maybe kind of an unfortunate bounce for St. Thomas to start their season up. But like I think St. Thomas can be better than a lot of people think. I think they got a good coaching staff. They hit the transfer portal. So they got some good guys in there. I don't think they're going to be an easy out as the season goes on. And it's a program that'll grow. It's a really, really beautiful campus. They're going to have a new rink at some point. They're in the Twin Cities. So I feel pretty good about them too. I don't think, they might struggle at times just because they're a new program, but it's not like, some programs that have popped up in years past that have been in non-traditional hockey markets that can't really sustain it. Like they're going to be okay. I think sooner than later, they're going to make a lot of noise.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we do need to look at. I mean, I'm new to this. So when I talk about this stuff,
here comes the full outsider, Alex.
I'm going to sound like an amateur, but I am excited.
Technically, we are in this.
Well,
for this
yes,
show, we are.
Yes, we are. I'm not. I'm definitely not paid. So seeing this new CCHA, being right. Because, this is the first season that we are seeing in this new rebrand. I'm very excited for it. Moving to some of the, more home teams, we have Northern Michigan. That's something I don't really like Northern Michigan. Got to be honest with you. Hot take.
Is that a Davenport thing?
Not really. No, I just don't like them. I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that I'm from the Lower Peninsula of Michigan.
Wow, just complete. Not Eastern bias, kids. Lower Peninsula bias here.
It's Southern bias here in Michigan.
Southern bias.
Northern Michigan is the
you are a bridge troll, Alex.
Hey, fine. I am okay with being a bridge troll. I will go on all of the messaging boards and be like, Northern Michigan.
Get to your question, Alex. Holy.
I forgot what my question was. Northern Michigan.
Northern Michigan.
Yeah, that's the question. Northern Michigan.
I think they've got a brilliant coach. I've got a lot of respect for him. He's a really, really good tactician, good recruiter. He's done a lot to upgrade some of the stuff they have there. They've got a great broadcast production in terms of their camera and stuff like that. Their camera equipment. It's a good place. I like it. The only thing I don't like is the Olympic ice. It's too big for me, especially when you go from everywhere else is not Olympic ice and you got to go play up there. You have to practice for it and adjust for it. That part's not always very much fun. But no, I have a lot of respect for that program. They play kind of a high octane style. One of the things I respect about Grant Patulny is he's up in Marquette and he's working the trail in Minnesota recruiting against all those other Minnesota schools in Wisconsin, North Dakota. Like he's not afraid to, elbow his way in there and go get some good players out of Minnesota. And that's not easy to do. Maybe a little easier from where he is as opposed to where our program is, where there's a lake separating us and a little quicker drive from where he is. And he's obviously got a lot more familiarity with the area. And we've done really well with our Michigan players. We've gone out of state. We've got some Europeans, but no, he's done a good job up there. I have a lot of respect for him. Grant's a good guy.
Yeah, and just to make sure I have my information correct, Minnesota, the Golden Gophers, they also play on Olympic
at
ice,
Mooch,
correct?
Yeah,
yes.
at 3M, yeah, I think that's Olympic.
They do.
Yeah.
It actually feels like it's even bigger than Olympic when you're out there. It's an ocean.
You watch it on TV, and we talked about this with Pat Micheletti. It looks bigger. It just looks massive. I don't know if it's because the big M, the maroon and gold logo they have, or the fact. But then again, Mariucci is one of the biggest rinks in all of college hockey. We're moving over to Lake State here, staying in the UP here for a moment. I'm going to put on the Uper hat. Alex is going to stay over here with his bridge trollness. Lake Superior State really shocked a few teams. They jumped all the way up into second in the conference last year. And, you and I talked about them. We knew they were a good team, but we didn't know how good they were going to be against everyone else in the WCHA. What are they bringing back to the CCHA now? Do you think they can finish as high up, or do you think they may regress a little bit with a little bit of turnover?
Well, I think everyone can. It's not going to be anywhere near as easy as it was. Not that it was easy a year ago. They've had some guys transfer out, guys transfer in. Yeah, I mean, it's a different look. They had a great goaltender that graduated. I don't know a lot about their current goaltending situation. I haven't gotten to see them very much. Excuse me.
He's still recovering from those games yesterday, guys. Yeah. It's okay. Give him a break there.
Give him a couple seconds.
Damon Witten just picked up his 100th win as Lake State's head coach. It was kind of a slow build for them. They took a little while to get it up and going, but they're playing his style. They're tough to play against. I mean, they are just tough. They've had some really good guys on the blue line the last few years, and for a while they were just this team that would run at you and take massive risks, and you could get behind them defensively. Like they would make enough mistakes where you could do that, but I mean, they totally flipped the script the last few years, and now they're just miserable to play against when you're going up the ice with the puck. They're just hard to play against, and it's a style that can win you a lot of playoff games. It's something that Michigan Tech has done a lot of over the last several years. They've done a good job of it, and it's a good way to build your program to win games, and they've recruited well enough to do it. So I don't know whether or not they can finish that high. I need to see them a couple times before I could answer that question. Yeah, they're a good team. They're hard to play against.
Yeah, and coming in with the reputation that they do have as a multiple-time NCAA quarterfinalist, CCHA league champion,
3-time national champions. Now, granted, all three of them were kind of funny. If anyone ever has actually watched those the 88 and 92 games in particular were a little controversial.
But in any case, they do have that kind of in their back pocket of having that long history of success to some sort of degree. Moving over to Michigan Tech.
Oh, and
before we go on to any other state in this great union, Joe Sean, the head coach, great guy. What do they, have to offer for, this season as far as the program goes? How do you think, recruiting's been for them, that kind of stuff?
There are a lot of whispers that this is the team that's going to be the team that kind of shocks the country, and it's not going to really shock anybody in the CCHA, but, they're one of the biggest size-wise teams they've ever had. They've got some really good skill. They're always going to play within their tight defensive system. Whether they're going to go forward and score a bunch of goals, it's hard to know until you see much of them. But it's a team I think is got NCAA tournament aspirations, and again, they're hard to play against. And that's one of my favorite rinks in the world. If you ever get the chance to go to a Michigan Tech game, it's so much fun. I probably shouldn't say that with Ferris State signing my paychecks, but
you tell me that. You tell me that every single time, Harrison. If you ever get a chance, we got to go up. We got to go up to Houghton, and I'm like, all right, we'll go up.
It's a bucket list rink. It really is.
Yeah.
I'm going to Lawson this weekend. You're going to be at Lawson. When you're hanging over the Lawson Lunatics, the student section, they're chanting some pretty foul stuff, stuff that's not safe for radio.
Do you use a crowd mic at Lawson?
I made the mistake of doing it my first time. I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, probably
I picked up some stuff.
I mean, Michigan Tech, they've got the Mitch's Misfits, looks like. So it's got it's like
but you're not next. He's not next to them though.
Well, no, but in any case,
No.
it's like the North.
But
It's the UP's Western Michigan, I guess.
Oh, don't tell them that.
Oh, I
To a
won't. I want to make
point.
them mad.
to a point, but here's the thing that I love about them is everything they do is clean. The thing that makes it funny to me is that they're able to do it creatively, have fun, rip on other teams, but they can do it clean, which is clean comedy is not easy to do. Ask Jim Gaffigan. How many times do you think he's wanted to start dropping F-bombs to sell more records?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
no,
go
I mean,
full Richard
they're-
Pryor on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the other thing is they're super nice people. So you're walking up through the crowd, everyone wants to shake your hand and say hello. The pep band is really funny. It's like a party when you're there. I mean, I went for Winter Carnival a few years ago, and I had the time of my life. And it's worth the 8-hour trip plus the extra time it takes to get through the snow. And anybody that's listening to this, if you've never been to a Michigan Tech hockey game. You got to get up there. It's a once in a lifetime experience. I would put it up there with playoff games at Joe Louis Arena.
Because I've experienced Michigan Tech twice, not up in Houghton, but the 2 times I went to the GLI, once as a fan, once as a reporter, and I can tell you, because the time I went was the second time when I was reporting for the Hockey Writers. That's when Ferris State was there. Michigan Tech beat Michigan in the final game. The crowd was about 75%. The arena was about 70% full. This was obviously pre-pandemic, Alex.
Right.
And I remember, and you remember when you came to the game with us, it was literally majority Michigan Tech fans.
Oh, yeah.
For
Michigan
the entire
Tech
weekend.
travels well. That is
and
for certain.
I still remember the head coach of the University of Michigan, Mel Pearson. Everyone, it was like you mentioned, like a playoff game. It was like a Patrick Waugh stepped back in the Julius Arena.
Oh.
Like that's how bad it was because Michigan Tech's Pepperidge Farms, they never forget.
Sure.
And this is going to be a good team again because I look at their goaltender in particular, Mark Sinclair, who one year almost made more saves than any goaltender in college hockey, and Blake Pietila, who came on a lot last year as well. So they're going to be, I think, a team, like you mentioned, Harrison. They're going to be a team to watch. Let's jump a little. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, the only other thing I was going to say is imagine the GLI energy times 100, and that's the MAC. In a blizzard, too. Like, you could get 5 feet of snow that day, and they would sell the place out.
It's always, I see the pictures, I see the videos, see the images, and you're like, it's got to go there. Let's go a little south here, where it's not as cold and not as much snow. Bowling Green.
A little.
Harrison, I look at their roster, and I say to myself, there's a little bit of turnover here. Now, there's a couple guys, a couple new guys there, Cole Norris, but there is this thing that says in my head, I'm like, man, because Bowling Green's offense at one point last season was world beaters. They would score 5 or 6 in a game. I think once they got into heavy conference schedule, they cooled off a little bit. But they, at one point early on in that season, were just hammering teams offensively, winning big. I look at this team and I'm like, I don't think it's going to happen this year with the Falcons, at least the same way it was last year.
Well, it's the style that they coach. They tend to build kids like that. It's not just, it's not always the kids you think. Sometimes there are kids that'll pop up that surprise the heck out of you. So you never know. Cole's there. Cole's an unbelievable kid. I think that's a good get for them. And it's, a function of a grad degree he wanted and wanting to play with his brother, but his brother ended up not being able to go this year. So it's, it's like a no hard feelings transfer. So I actually talked to him about the goal that Michigan scored on them the other day, just a few minutes ago. And we still have a little fun. He was texting me last night during our game too. It's a tough team to play. It's a tough building to play in. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's loud. It has this like corrugated metal ceiling, so the sound just reflects. Like it's bananas loud in there, even when they don't have like any fans. So, it's a tough place to play. I really need to see them play before I can really judge them because, again, you said there's a lot of turnover. There is. There's some freshmen last year that I really liked. I liked Ethan Scardino a lot. Power forward type, kind of reminds me of. He gives me like big Johan Franzen vibes. So you never know. I mean, in college hockey, that could be really hard to play against.
Right. Yeah, there's some big guys. And I think I went to Bowling Green when I was actually playing at Davenport. We were playing their club team, and we had the ability to play them after the NCAA team played. So we got to see them play weekends against Lake State there, and that was pretty cool. Let's get on over to Minnesota for the final 2 teams here. I know we started off with St. Thomas, but we're going to jump on back here to this land of 10,000 lakes. Bemidji State.
Beaver hockey.
I thought that was, for some reason, the way everything was shaping up last year, that was going to be the team to challenge for the conference title. Well, as we learned, we were wrong, at least at the end there. But this, there's a lot of guys. The Sillinger brothers there. They have returning. They have Alex Arulo. Willie Smolek is a year older. This has got a lot of turnover, but I think for me, the big thing that I see is I don't see Zach Driscoll there anymore. And I really wonder what the goaltending situation is going to be like with Bemidji State.
I don't, because every year I've been here, I wonder that, and they're always good. They'll find something. One of them will pop up and be good. I don't really worry too much about that. And even if none of them are great, they'll have the defensive systems, because that's what Tom Serratori does best, to cover some of that up. So, I mean, like you said, they got some really good the Cylinders and everybody back. I mean, they did lose a couple guys, but that's another team. You keep hearing the theme hard to play against, and that's kind of what our league is. But
Right.
Going and playing them is like playing. I'm trying to think of a really good example. I'm trying to think of a football team that just has like a downhill running game that can just grind the heck out of you for 4 quarters and just be annoying.
South Haven High School football.
Notre Dame.
That's
not Notre Dame. Definitely not Notre Dame.
But it's like 4 yards in a cloud of dust against them,
Yep.
and it's automatic.
Navy.
Automatic.
There you go.
I mean, they're
Navy?
they're so good at it. So it's not always the prettiest hockey. They do have some high skill guys, but they'll grind you down and they'll find ways to win. So I'm not really worried about them. They went to North Dakota and only lost by 1
exhibition.
It was a 1-1 game for most of the night. And the one thing about them is whenever they get into a game like that against a really high end program with high end talent, they play them straight up, and they all have issues with them. So in big games when it matters, definitely a team I trust. See if they can get over the playoff hump this year.
Yeah, and they are going to be hosting, even though they did lose in that exhibition to North Dakota, the Fighting Hawks, they are going to be hosting good old Minnesota Duluth for a back-to-back there. And then finally...
Duluth's not that good, right? They're not that good.
No.
I've never heard of them.
Never heard of
Who
them.
are
Pat Micheletti says they're the worst team in the state.
Fair enough. Well, you know what team that we have heard of is Minnesota State,
Aha.
the state team of Minnesota.
The Mavericks.
They actually beat the defending national champion UMass this weekend. What is this team looking like, especially with coming off such a huge win?
And Dryden McKay.
And trying to get.
Yeah, I mean, they swept them on the road on Banner Weekend in front of a sold-out crowd the first night. They were down 3-0 the second night and pounded them with 6 straight goals.
Allowing 3 goals is a weird thing, Alex. They're down in Mankato.
Really?
Yeah, they lost a lot of guys. They brought back a couple of super seniors with COVID. So I kind of wondered what they were going to look like right away, but I don't really wonder anymore. I think they're pretty darn good.
Especially with a 6-3 win. Come on now.
And the most annoying thing, and I joke with Mike Hastings about this when I see him, is it's like, okay, finally they graduated. I'm going to date myself with this name a little bit. Oh, finally they graduate Bryce Gervais. Oh, we have CJ Franklin. Oh, finally they graduated CJ Franklin. Oh, how about Connor Mackey for you? Would you like him? Like they
Teddy
just
Bluger. Don't forget Teddy Bluger.
Teddy Bluger, like they get these good guys. They have 150 points. They graduate, and you're like, oh, thank God that guy's gone. And then, we usually don't see him at least until November, which is when we're going to see him this year. So like you wonder the first month, what are they going to be like? And then they come to town in November, and there's a guy that's like 2 points per game. You're like, who is this? I've never heard of this guy before. And sometimes it's the people that he redshirts that develop in the system. And Lucas Sauter was a guy that he was a freshman, just came out of left field. Julian Napravnik has come a long way. So I mean, it doesn't really seem to matter who they graduate. There's just some other random guy that's good for 40 points that they're going to have the next year anyway. So it's right. They're impossible to plan for. I mean, they're incredible. They play heavy. It's a team that has high talent but plays heavy hockey, which is it's hard to play against. You saw it. They got to the Frozen Four with it, and if not for a ridiculous goal, they're probably in the national championship
game.
Still,
if I say this, if Minnesota State wins that game, Dryden McKay is the Hobie Baker Award winner.
Potentially.
I say it. I still say it.
I think if Ferris State doesn't score 4 on him and have him pulled, he probably wins the Richter Award.
Gosh darn it, guys. We ruined it for him.
Wow. Way to go.
He could have had a .85 goals against average and a .993 save percentage.
He's incredible. He's by all accounts a great kid, and that doesn't happen to him almost ever.
Gonna set the shutout record this year probably.
Coulda.
But the funny thing is he'll get that shutout record, and he'll be thinking about the one save that wasn't technically sound, and he'll be like, yeah, but they'll ask, oh, you broke Ryan Miller's record, and he'll just be like, yeah, but did you see that one save in the first period? That wasn't that good.
Yeah.
That's the kind of
guy.
Knob.
I didn't catch it with the blocker. I caught it with the knob. It sounds like how I used to be.
Yeah.
And now
but usually it was you caught it with the knob and then ended up right behind you.
That's true. It usually ended up in the back of the net. I didn't have many shutouts in my day.
No. I will get you in for one more question, Harrison, before we let you go. you did bring up the concept of the super senior. Is with the CCHA, you do have this list of teams that they're hard to play against. It's kind of the brand of hockey that you're gonna be seeing with this new association. The concept of the super senior, is this going to be something that a lot of teams are going to have to look at as far as, yes, I mean, when you look at a stat sheet, it's just another player, but there are some cases that, you could argue that a super senior is going to be a better player on the team. I mean, yes, you have the kind of like, they've been around the block a couple times. They know how this works, the traveling, that kind of stuff. They're not going to have any sort of freshman jitters, something like that. But do you think that at the very least for the CCHA, the super seniors are going to be the real thing that separates some teams from others?
I do. And I'll give you a good example of somebody that's not a super senior and why my opinion is what it is on some of these guys. Like, Tyler, you're going to see a kid named Ronnie Addard this weekend for Western Michigan.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think, and some people are going to rip me for this, if you put Ronnie Addard in an NHL game right now, I think he would be more physically capable of handling it than Owen Power would. Right this second. Now, that's not to say in the future that Owen Power's not going to surpass him, but no, I mean, like, Ronnie Addard's older. He's taken longer to develop. He's taken kind of a longer path to develop, but he's older. He's got man strength at this point. He's hyper talented. I think he was taken lower in the draft than he probably should have been. And he's a phenomenal player. And I think, one of the things about college hockey is you get these 18-year-old at Michigan, and they're so much fun to watch. Like, don't get me wrong, but they get into the NCAA tournament, and they got to go play against a 24, sometimes 25-year-old grown man. And you can't always, like, you can skill yourself into a lot of things, but you get into those games where they game plan for you. You got guys that have been around the block 6 more years than you. Like, it's different. There's a big difference between man strength and 18-year-old skill. And that's one of the biggest challenges of college hockey, which is why I think makes it such a good developmental league, because you're not just playing, it's like why I like draft prospects playing in Sweden, because you're playing against grown men. And you really are at this level playing against grown men. It's physical hockey. Michigan's going to do what they did last weekend against Bowling Green a bunch. They'll have some fun nights with some crazy, super talented goals, and then they're going to run up against an older team, a team like a Minnesota State, a team like a Bemidji State, or in North Dakota even, who's kind of more in that mold. And they might get pushed around because they don't have man strength. I think there's something to be said for man strength.
And I thought Michigan last year could have made a deep run into the tournament, but unfortunately COVID got in the way with that. We'll see how it goes this year. We have been chatting it up today for the final time. Well, for now. With the alternate captain of the Five Timers Club here on the Kuehl Show, left winger on our ball hockey team, the voice of the Bulldogs, the Ferris State Bulldogs, Harrison Watt. Harrison, thank you very much for taking your time. You were, I believe, if I can't remember if I'm exactly right, you were probably, I think, our second guest ever on this show years ago. You pretty much offered me to call Jack Hughes and the U.S. development team like the first time you met me, which I thought you were absolutely out of your mind, but you, for some reason, did it, and you have stuck around ever since. So I thank you very much for always taking the time and chatting hockey, college hockey with us. And I'm going to see you Friday and Saturday, but the folks here on 12 Ounce Sports may not see you for a while. So I just want to say thank you from Alex and I for everything you've done and for helping us out and giving us the best in the scholastic puck.
Yes, sir. I'll see you this weekend, and hopefully the Dogs can come away with the win. Don't tell Robin Hook I said that, though.
Buddy, I need to...
I'll just knock on the lid for you.
Listen, I'm going to be there Saturday, and according to the email I received today, it is official. I will be there Saturday. So if as long as it's close, I love calling close games. Close games are fun. So listen, Harrison, if you want your team to win, that's fine. Just make it 4-3, 3-2, whatever. But if the Broncos win, I can't be mad either.
Hey, I like calling exciting hockey. Give me a 6-7 game. We'll be good.
No. Harrison, they can't have a heart attack, and I have to go call both games, okay? I can't do that.
Listen, if the Broncos win, you and I are throwing down in the press box. Like, I just hope you know. I hope you know that.
If you don't bring B-dubs on Saturday, if you bring me this Jimmy John's stuff like you did a couple times last year, then we're going to throw down.
Oh, there we go.
Now you know exactly what you're getting for lunch. How about that?
I'm getting Mancino's. I don't even care what he brings. I'm getting Mancino's. Harrison, man, you take care. Tell Casey and the Murph we said hi, and I'll see you Friday, man.
Will do.
That was Harrison Watt, ladies and gentlemen. One of my favorite guys to talk to.
Absolutely. One of the best.
One of the best around, one of the best voices. Got over Al Randall and Scott Moore in both games. He called it the GLI. He says it's because of the fact that Michigan Tech's the host and it's a WCHA school at the time.
Sure.
I think it's BS. That's just me. I don't call me biased because I'm his friend or whatever. I just think he's a really good voice. He was an easy guy to work with, and that first game that I did with him was against actually Bemidji State in the 1920 season. They won. I came in with the notes that I was given. I tried my best. I should not have been doing color for that game. Harrison carried me through it.
Well,
he let me do literally. I was full hockey cliche Tyler that night. Just the simplest things. I analyzed the goaltenders, the defense, whatever. Like, oh yeah, you got to make the smart play. You got to get the puck out of the zone. You got to get the puck in deep. You got to get traffic in front of the goaltender. You got to make it hard on Zach Driscoll. Oh, nice save there by Austin Shaw. He made a very good move here. Oh, he had trouble with the puck. Well, you got to be careful. I was just nothing individual about each player. It was basic, bland, vanilla commentary, and Harrison made it sound like it was chocolate.
Listen, that's kind of like the job of the color commentator. I mean, shoot,
you're supposed to know stuff about these guys. Like I now granted I have been accused of my Pierre stuff. Now my spot charts this weekend are filled for both Ferris. Well, Ferris is because of Harrison. Harrison sent me his, and I have mine for Western. That's what he said, Ronnie Adder. I'm like, yeah, he's been there for like 7 years.
Well, in any case, I mean, that's kind of, well, I mean, heck, we used to call college games, whether it was Davenport hockey or lacrosse, whatever.
You were.
I was phenomenal.
You were phenomenal.
I was phenomenal.
Hey,
I earned those Reese's and hot Cheetos, man.
No, that was for lacrosse, not
hockey. It was lacrosse, but I still earned it.
For your hockey stuff, that was your intermission analyst stuff. That was rough times. We had a couple.
What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I did my best with what I had. Yeah,
you've watched me play for years. I hope you would know a thing or two.
I know enough. I knew enough.
How much do you know, Alex?
Enough.
There you are.
Enough.
We got a minute here. Is there anything we want to touch on before we go to break before we have Peyton Turnage on? I know we said 7:30 with him, but I wonder if there's anything that I can bring in here.
Let me see if there's anything on our good old 3-letter network to see if there's anything.
There's some preseason hockey
I'm just
right
going to keep saying
Devils and Caps going right now. I'm obviously paying attention to that because, I got to report on it tomorrow.
Well, Ty, let's talk about. Well, first of all, we're going to be talking to Peyton Turnage, so we need to make notice or make mention.
Well, we'll mention all the news. We'll probably talk with him because unfortunately, I don't know how much he wants to talk about the Preds.
Well, fair enough. But in any case, we are going to be talking with him about the Preds, so we do have to send our thoughts and prayers to Predators assistant Todd Richards, who is in recovery after suffering a heart attack. Sportsnet reported as of an hour ago that he is resting comfortably.
That's good.
He had a heart attack on Friday, so it's good to hear that he is in good spirits at the very least. Let's talk for a couple seconds with you because, I mean, you are the resident Hockey Canada aficionado.
What'd I do?
What?
What did I do? Why am I all of a sudden getting thrown in like I'm the important person here?
Well, you are the inside of the insider, so I get all my information. Well, not all my information, but most of my information from you and your buddy Freege. So
good buddy Freege.
Let's talk about
32 thoughts.
Let's talk about Hockey Canada for a quick second. What are your thoughts on the people that have been named to the team? I know that Crosby, McDavid, Pietrangelo. What is this team looking like other than the best team in the world?
Well, the thing is, and
other than the best team in the world.
So the first thing first of all, you have to remember Dougie Armstrong, general manager of St. Louis Blues, is the general manager for Hockey Canada.
Yes.
So of course he's going to put Captain Canada on there, Sidney Crosby.
Oh, yes.
Because I'm slowly turning from that notion of, oh man, I'm hungry. My stomach is growling.
I got it too. I had to burp.
There is a lot to be excited about for this team, but I really wonder what. Because he only had to name 3 players, not the full team yet.
It was just the
pretty much
mandatory players as requested.
To more or less say, hey, it's like anteing up in a poker game. Are you going to be in this hand? Okay, cool. Give us a couple $100.
Sure. And it just so happens that the couple $100 that you're putting to ante up are Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, and Alex Pietrangelo.
Crosby's obvious, and I'm past the point
now. I
now.
think Connor McDavid would be obvious too.
Hold on. Well, because listen, Crosby's still one of the best players in the world. I'm getting there. You asked me
Come
about
on.
the players. I'm getting there.
Okay, fam.
Sidney Crosby, up until probably 2 years ago, I would have still picked over McDavid to have on my team, on the basis of the fact that he is still very good and he knows how to win. Connor McDavid still has to learn that. He still does now. But I think Connor McDavid is such a talented player that if you put him on a good team, guess what, kids? He'll win some hockey games.
Yeah.
The big one that's really getting everyone kind of all, whoa, what is this? Alex Pietrangelo, mainly because of the fact that the extension that was offered by Doug Armstrong before Alex Pietrangelo went to Vegas did not quite fit the T of the former Blues captain. So I think it's in the fact that he's been named as one of the top 3 guys on your team shows that Pietrangelo is going to get a shot to be a number 1 defenseman for Team Canada. I'm sure that's something he's always wanted to do.
Sure.
And as compared to, I say, 2014, the last time NHLers were at the Olympics, when Marty St. Louis, the only reason why he got into Team Canada, which was that time was GM by Steve Yzerman, was because of the fact that Steven Stamkos, another Lightning player at the time, got injured. Had that not happened, Marty St. Louis would not have played for Team Canada, won a gold medal, which he deserved anyways. So I look at all that and I say, okay, I think it's maybe just paying restitution. Say, hey, the amount of stuff that you did for this team, the amount of stuff you can do for your country, you're going to be a number 1 guy on this hockey club.
Well, think about it. He got a gold medal in 2014.
And in a much lesser role, let's be honest.
In a much lesser role, but nevertheless, go through all the things needless to say, this is a guy that has proved himself,
Yes.
off the ice, on the ice. And let's be honest here, even if, all things considered of, whoa, his contract extension didn't really work. Dude, you're going to be playing for your country, and especially when you are, one of the 3 guys that was named and you're put up with Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid.
I think hard feelings are put away.
I don't care if Connor McDavid's younger than you.
Is he?
Connor McDavid?
Oh, no, sorry. I was thinking of Crosby. My bad.
No, absolutely
I was thinking,
not.
for some reason, Crosby is still in my head. I'm like, Crosby is not younger than Alex Pietrangelo.
Crosby is 30.
So he was 18 when he came into the league, 05, 16, so 34.
Okay, so
Because he came in the league when he was 18, yeah.
And I think Pietrangelo is 33. So
he was drafted 2009, something like that, around that area. But
in any case, this is going to be a great opportunity. You get to play for Hockey Canada, or you get to just play for Canada in general. Well, you're going to be
Canada. I mean, just is it hard to? Listen. I know people know that I love Canada. I cheer for Team Canada. I am hard pressed not to say that Team Canada is a favorite to win gold. They can
and they can't be.
They're older, but now granted, we have to wait to see the full team. Everyone's throwing some
let's be
prediction lists
real
out
here.
there.
Canada won gold with Joe Sakic on the team, and he wasn't the youngest guy in the locker room either.
Okay, that 02 team was literally everyone that missed out in '98, except for Gretzky, of course, because he put the team together.
Yzerman was on that team.
Theo Fleury was on that team, for gosh sakes. Theo Fleury was 50.
Who else was there? Brendan Shanahan was on that team.
Well, Shanny was still good. Yzerman didn't have knees.
Yzerman was still good enough.
Yzerman and Lemieux didn't practice. You have to forget those 2
Lemieux
guys. Did not
was
practice.
on that team. That's right.
Yeah. Korea was
God.
there. Can I name the entire team? I could probably come pretty close. Niedermeyer, Pronger,
Hold on.
McGinnis.
Let me pull
McGinnis,
it up.
Al McGinnis, who was like 50 at that point. Owen Nolan, who was well past his prime, was on that team.
Hold on.
That team was like, all right, guys, you've played
Okay.
a lot of hockey but never made the Olympics. Let's put you all together. And thank goodness Belarus somehow stunned Sweden, because Sweden would have annihilated Canada in that
All right.
semifinal.
It's going to be a hot run here before we go to a quick break, and then we'll be on with Peyton Turnage. I'll give you the first one. Head coach Pat Quinn.
Pat Quinn, Ken Hitchcock, and Jacques Lemaire were the 3 coaches.
Name every player on the 2002 Winter Olympics roster.
Okay, Peyton, Peyton probably texted me and I was like, I want to get on. You're going to have to wait, Peyton.
Give me 5. You still got 2 minutes. Come on.
I got 2 minutes? Okay, here we go. How many players?
1, 2, including goalies. 1, 2, 3. Oh, come on. Stop doing that. 1, 2, 3. 8, 9.
Oh boy, this is gonna be intense, because I feel like I know it pretty well. Because they played NHL 2003 a lot with Team Canada, which was
23.
23. Okay,
Including goalies.
The goalies were Waugh, Cujo, and Marty Brodeur. Marty Brodeur, who won the gold medal, right?
No.
Not Waugh?
Those are not the goalies.
Cujo.
You have Brodeur.
Cujo and Broder.
There's one more.
Eddie Belfour.
Yep.
Eddie Belfour.
Yep.
That was his last year with Dallas. Pronger, Niedermeyer, McGinnis.
Hold on.
You just have to. All right. Do I have to? Wait, is it in alphabetical order?
No, it's not.
Just start. No, listen. You're gonna have to just say if I'm right or wrong. Just say if I'm wrong if I say a name wrong.
Pronger's wrong.
Pronger was on the team. Chris Pronger, I don't think he was number 44, but he was on the team.
No, he was not.
Baloney.
Oh, there he is. Never mind. Okay, never mind.
Michael Pekka, because I saw the list.
Yes.
Michael Pekka, Owen Nolan, Eric Lindros, who, okay.
Owen Nolan.
After
Eric
a year
Lindros.
taken off.
Yep.
Sakic, Correa, Lemieux, Yzerman, Fleury, Aginla. Oh, boy. This is where it gets tough now. Brian McCabe was not playing. I know that.
He was not on the
He was
team.
on a world championship team.
I'll give you Ed Jovanovski because.
Oh, crap. That was the best guy because he was one of the big hitters. Oh, I remember I had when you do the big hit mode in NHL 2003.
Yeah.
I had
think defense real quick. Come on.
Jovanovski.
Defense.
I said Jovanovski, McGinnis, Pronger, Niedermeyer. Stevens wasn't playing. He was too old at that point. But Stevens on the team? Scott Stevens?
Scott Stevens was
he? I know he's on the 98
not
team.
on the
He's
team.
not on the team.
No. You got Niedermeyer on there though.
Who am I missing?
You're missing Rob Blake, Eric Brewer.
Oh, Eric Brewer. The best seventh. He was the best in NHL hits.
I'll keep going off the names that I didn't hear you say. Adam Foote, Simone Gagne.
Oh.
Did
I miss 5?
You missed one more. Ryan Smith.
Oh, Smitty. Oh. See, I'm sorry. I missed the bottom 6. Eric Lindros.
And you didn't say the captain. Who was not the captain. No.
Lemieux was the captain.
Yeah.
Lemieux was the captain. But
he was the captain. Captain Canada at the time.
we should go to break.
We should go to break. After this, we are going to be, like I said, talking with Peyton Turnage here on the Keel Show on 12 Ounce Sports. We will be back after this. And we are back here on the Keel Show here on 12 Ounce Sports, brought to you by none other than Second String Leather Company, crafted from the crease. Like I said before we went into break, we have another member of the Five Timers Club, the Five Timers times a bajillion, bazillion, Willian. At this point, he's probably been on the show far more than I have in the past. So
I think he's up there with. He's got to be close to Thomas and Harrison because there was only one point he was on every other week.
Yeah. So at this point, I think he might be up to my numbers, and I was a regular person on the show. Since we did
since we started the live show, I'm saying dude, we've been doing this for 3 years.
Yes, I mean since we started doing the live show, we have none other than good friend of the show, Five Timers Club, probably right defense on the ball hockey team for the Charity Classic.
Who thought you're playing defense, buddy?
I'm left defense.
You're a plug.
I'm left defense.
I'm a defenseman though too.
No, you're goalie.
I'm not goaltender. Janner's goalie.
Why not?
Anyways,
we have none other than Peyton Turnage on the show. How you doing, Peyton?
Hold on, boys.
For the, I'm going to say 92nd time.
92nd
I'm going to give
time.
Harrison
It's at
2
least
more.
been 5 times 3.
At least 15 times.
Yeah, that
I'll
makes
give you
sense.
that.
5 times 3. Well,
The
you hit the Five Timers Club, I believe, when we had you on for the first round of the playoffs in 2020, and then we had you on for every round after that, and then, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's got to be at least 15. The number of times I've gotten the Spotify notification of the Keel Show has uploaded a video of blank, blank, blank featuring Peyton Turnage or Peyton Turnage plus somebody else. You've been on the show quite a bit.
What is your
that.
favorite moment, Peyton?
Well, like I said before I came on here, you're about the only guy keeping me relevant now. So
Hey now,
Now what am I gonna
don't
do?
do that to yourself, Peyton. Because, guys, Peyton's doing double duty today.
He is doing
He's
double
doing this
duty.
live one with us, but
You said duty.
duty. But he's also going to be doing another episode of The Predator Way. This is the way, The Predator Way, on Penalty Box Radio. Peyton, tell us about it.
I'm not gonna say I got roped into it, but here's the funny thing. So we did 3 failed episodes of a PBR roundtable between myself and Boyd Farish, who's the co-host of The Predator Way, and then 3 other guys from Penalty Box Radio. Jack Woods, who's a comedian, or at least he calls himself that.
He thinks
George
he's a
Matarangas-
comedian.
George Matarangas, a analytics and data expert. He's legitimately has been a scout before, and the infamous John Jensen.
Yeah,
And
John Jensen, the
none
Cool
of
Show
those-
favorite.
None of those made it to air. So finally, a few weeks ago, Boyd texted me and was like, okay, you want to just do a show where it's just you and me? So we worked it up right before the preseason started. And it took me about a week to figure out how to edit the thing. And then another week waiting on Justin Bradford to upload it. So it finally got uploaded late last week. And it got over, I think, 300 listens on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know where we're at as far as Apple or Spotify or anything else, but that definitely exceeded expectations right out of the gate.
I will say this. We were at one point averaging around 300. Spotify and Google and Apple all said we had 0. So I don't know how that exactly works.
Yeah, but see, Google at the time, it was also kind of a weird part because at the time, Google, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts were
Formerly
going through,
iTunes.
We're going through a time of conversion, and there were a lot of podcasts that were getting taken off the platforms. There were a lot of podcasts that were getting put on the platforms. So, another big thing, for as far as like Spotify, that was kind of around the time where, like a huge podcast that most people know about is like the Joe Rogan podcast. That was when he was like
Joe Rogan, you mean
transitioning
the guy that thinks
everywhere
he knows
else versus
how to
to
cure
Spotify.
COVID or whatever it is?
He tries. It's elk
Fear
meat.
Factor guy?
The
Yeah,
fear.
the Fear Factor. Guy.
We're gonna date ourselves, guys.
The
Fear
Fear
Factor.
Factor?
Not the guy that does UFC, not the Joe Rogan Experience. The Fear Factor guy.
He is the Fear Factor guy, and he does spit a few facts at you about elk meat. But no, that's that was during all that time. But definitely take a good solid. How long are your episodes, or at least your one that you just had released a while ago? How long is it usually?
It was about an hour and 15 minutes, and I got a complaint right out of the gate that our show was too long. So
And
we're
here
gonna
we-
try to make it about an hour. If Boyd can work on the length of his pauses, and if I can say about 800 less times. That took a while to edit out, but who knows? We got. We'll see how this next show goes. I have not been able to watch hardly any of the Predators preseason. I could have watched the game the other night against Tampa, but I was at the bar with my friends.
Hey, there you go.
Well, hey, I'm supposed to be covering the Caps, and I've watched zip. I've watched highlights,
Yeah.
but live games, yeah. Well, it's
Yeah,
pretty. Well,
they-
go ahead.
they're about to work you to death, buddy. I hope you know.
Oh, I know. I'm ready, but at least, unfortunately, and that there's nothing against this show, nothing against 12 on Sports. I'm getting paid a little bit more. to be a
Money
part-
is worth it.
Money is a thing. I like money. It's nice.
In any
Well,
case,
Dare I bring up the 15-game weekend? Okay, money is worth it to a certain extent.
Oh yes. By the way, Peyton, there's a few. Blaine, Minnesota needs a guy next week or a couple weeks from now. Just letting you know for Hockey TV. I roped. Speaking of roping Peyton into doing stuff where
Sure.
he gets paid, I got him to do a job for Hockey TV, and it said it was rough for him.
I called games from 8 in the morning to 8 at night.
Oh man, that's something I've never done. Well, I
That's
can't
putting
say
in work,
I
son.
can't say I did that, but I think I did at most 3 games when I was in Dallas when I was in the under 18s. That was about it, and I thought to myself, oh, that was a lot of hockey. Poor Peyton.
No.
Peyton, to your point there, you said you haven't watched a lot of Preds games here. We try to talk about them a little bit every single time. We have you on because, oh crap, Alex, battery pack's low.
What?
Go plug in the camera.
Okay.
I'll
I
fix
didn't know
it.
if that was you or me.
No, Alex, it should be the cord's right there. Just plug it on the side there. We're gonna lose battery. Oh God, we're gonna lose video. This can't happen now. Not on the last. Alex, where are you going? It's right there.
Hey, it's only appropriate.
Right there. Right there. There it is. Holy moly. Other side. It's on the other side. Bottom right. Holy cow. This is how we lose the show. Right there. Back. Right there. Right there. There you go. Holy.
Yeah,
I
there
thought I
it is.
plugged it in. That's how the first show went and the last show went. Anyways, what was my question? I think we're good.
First show and last show went like this.
Yeah.
Hello?
The first time I ever did the live video. Yeah,
How am I
Alex.
supposed to sleep tonight now?
Yeah, there you go. Preseason hockey. It's a good way to see, and I talked about this with Cody Jansen last week. It's a great way to see a lot of young players that may not be with the big club right away and whatnot. But at the same token, it's really not a telltale sign of how the team is going to play. How do you watch preseason hockey if you do? Like, I personally don't take it to heart. I don't go crazy if the Leafs go 0-3. The Caps right now are 0-3 playing against the Devils tonight. Apparently, according to things, they're only playing decent right now. I'm not panicking if I was a Caps fan. I'm not panicking if I'm a Leafs fan if they lose a couple games. What is your take on preseason hockey?
You just pay attention to if there's a young guy here or there that can steal a spot, like an Igor Afanasiev who scored 2 beautiful goals the other night against Tampa. Other than that, the last 2 games they played against a very stripped-down Tampa Bay Lightning, who I'm pretty sure only played 4 players that played in the Stanley Cup final. So you really can't draw anything from it. There's 2 preseason games left for the Predators. There's one on Saturday night, the last home game against Carolina. That one's going to be televised. And from there, I think you can start to kind of draw some conclusions of what you're going to see this season with the Predators. But I'm like you. Up until then, there's really not a whole lot you can draw away. Now, it has been interesting, a few of the dynamics, just from what little I've seen, where with the Predators' defense, we pretty much had Alexander Carrier penciled in on that top pair with Roman Josi, just because that's what happened in the playoffs. But instead, they slot in Dante Fabro next to him. Fabro apparently has done a lot of work in the offseason. It's time for him to improve his game, and why not challenge him? Why not give him the first pair? So that's been very interesting to see. The other part of it, too, is the Predators sent down David Ferris today, and I had him maybe not even penciled in, but sharpied in on that third pair left defense. So that's really put a wrinkle into things. So they've got, I think, what is it? Is it one more against Tampa? They play somebody tomorrow night. I think it's Tampa.
They play a hockey team.
Yeah.
So
They're playing Alabama Huntsville, Peyton. You should be there.
Oh yeah,
that'd be a heck of a game. No,
they're playing the UEH club team,
Oh boy.
who are 0-4 in the SCCHC.
Heck yeah, let's go. All right.
Over.
Love
I'm
that.
not. I mean, it's a club team, so the school really has no idea they even exist. So
Right. Rem Pitlick, another player that is heading to waivers for Nashville. Well, not necessarily a quick question. A question that
you have to answer in 10 seconds.
you have to answer 15 seconds tops. Elias Ekholm, Philip Forsberg, how do they fit in the long term? You have 15 seconds. Go.
I'm joking, Peyton.
Depends. It depends.
Depends on what?
Let's see. Ekholm's about 30. Forsberg, I think he's probably 28 years old. I wish I knew that right off the top. It'd be great if I knew that, right?
Right.
Power up, cat friendly.
You could get a really good trade return for both players. And you think what guys would have spent at the deadline last year to get Matthias Ekholm, and the Predators just couldn't quite resist. They had to go for that playoff run, or so to speak. I mean, they gave it a good ride against Carolina, but there was no way they were going to contend for the Cup. And why push for a playoff if you're not going to do that? I don't know, man. Forsberg's a great player, and every now and then you're wowed by his skill, his presence in the lineup. But is he really the guy in the future?
By the way, Philip Forsberg is 27.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So at prime, a little bit past it. You have to take into account signing him long term. Is he going to be your guy, or can you possibly take a chance on getting a high draft pick and then letting that person become the guy? Magic beans, as Steve Dangle calls it. So that's a really tough decision. And Forsberg, I think, has been a little bit perturbed by some of the moves that the Predators made. The biggest one getting rid of Victor Arvidsson. So he's probably not feeling the best about being a Predator right now. That's a tough decision. We're just going to have to see how this plays out in the season. It's going to be interesting who his line mates are. We know Ryan Johansson's going to be, but who's going to be on that right wing? Is it going to be Eeli Tolvanen? Is it going to be Matt Duchene? Is it going to be Philip Tomasino? Still a lot to gather and to figure out at this juncture.
Tolvanen is just a guy that every single time I'm like, he's got to be it. It's Tolvanen. It's his time. It's going to be his time.
Homie time.
It's just it just never happens, it seems like, with him.
I mean, but in any case, you look at those two players, and both of them have played in Nashville their entire careers.
Well, Milwaukee.
Well,
but yeah.
In the system for their entire careers. But, like you said, Peyton, you're going to be looking at $14 million at least between both of them. At least 8 for one, at least 6 for another. However that goes, it's going to be up to, the powers at large. In any case, I do think they're names. They're names that anyone around the league can point at as yes, that is a Nashville Predator guy. That, whether it's Phillip, whether it's, any of, Pecorino was one of those guys where if he didn't retire, you wouldn't want to get rid of him. However, the exorbitant amount, well,
that's I think why he retired maybe, but that's not here nor there.
When we were talking about in prime, but that's something that you're gonna definitely have to look at. Kind of looking at the prospects for the Predators. Are there a couple that really speak to you as like kind of guys that are going to be filling those big spots that possibly could not be, completely closed coming to, trade deadline later this year?
Well, a guy that I mentioned before, just sparingly, was Philip Tomasino, right hand shooting winger. To my knowledge, can play center. Scored, I believe, 20 goals in the AHL last year in, I think it was about 21 games, something like that, with the Chicago Wolves, and had a pretty stellar season for them. I think right away you pencil him somewhere within the top 9, but I think he's got a spot in the lineup. Other than that, there's really not any big top name prospect. Again, I mentioned Igor Afanasiev, but he's probably
Lumberjacks legend.
One of the last cuts. Yeah, I mean,
why is
Martin's favorite player, but
Sorry, Peyton. Kelly's yelling at me through the door. What do you want?
Oh boy,
is someone here? What? Oh, Peyton's on.
Oh god.
Hey.
Oh god. Oh yeah. I don't know if you could hear her. She says hi.
She says hi.
Oh, I can definitely hear it.
Yeah.
I
hi,
can
Wixie.
definitely hear.
Hey, Wixie girl. If you want to look in the camera, you can say hi to him. He's no. Okay.
No, you don't need to.
You're wearing a Toronto 6 shirt though. You're repping. Oh, it's my mom. Hi, mom.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Oh, holy cow. She's got champagne. Holy moly. And
Has
pizza.
she come to commemorate the final show?
She has.
We're gonna
She's
need that champagne in a minute
brought
here.
bubbly and pizza, so that kind of
A little bit of the bubbly.
a little bit of the bubbly.
We'll have to worry about. We'll take care of that later.
But
Can we finish our show? Oh yeah, yell when
Okay,
we want
thanks.
pizza.
Awesome.
Oh,
Okay, fantastic.
Sounds good. Peyton, you were saying
Not Little Caesars, is it?
No, it is not.
Well, I don't actually have no
I
idea.
saw the
Good.
box. It didn't look.
Ooh, it could be
orange at all.
Alfano's. Anyways, Peyton.
Anyways, going back to prospects, I mean, a lot of the prospects that have been signed, at the very least, that are noteworthy within the past couple of years, are truly tied up in the KHL. So I think
Russia.
that's I mean, you have Yaroslav Askarov, and these are just all names that I'm just looking at a
Yaroslav
Predators prospect report.
well, let's hold on. Let's go with Askarov here because Peyton and I have talked about him before. I myself am super critical of the guy because A, he catches with the wrong hand. B, he had a miserable performance in the last couple of games of the last World Junior Tournament. And I think he got drafted way too high for his stature. Now, Peyton, eventually, even though UC Saros is a little bit younger, Nashville's going to need a second goaltender there. I don't know how long you could run with Big Save Dave back there. So is there like a timetable in your mind that Askarov could make his way over to the States?
It seems to be about a 3-year plan. And I'm like you, he was a bit of a wild man, especially playing for Team Russia. He also has an interesting goal stick grip. He has the trigger grip.
Yeah.
The little hole on the thumb.
And he still finds way to drop it. It's crazy.
But where are you talking about, though, Tyler? He's supposed to be the next Vladislav Tretiak. I mean, what's going on, man?
Well, my thing is this. He's very athletic, very talented. That's why he was drafted so high. Listen, maybe it's because I'm scarred with Ricky DiPietro getting drafted first overall all those years ago. But then again, that was a Mike Milbury thing, so it kind of makes sense now that it happened. But my thing is I question everything that could happen here because you put the title on a goaltender of being the number one guy. He's going to be your number one guy because you draft him so high. And the only thing he can do now is be good because if he's not, it's a bust and David Poile looks like an idiot. That's my thing of getting a goaltender so high. If he was drafted later on or the second round, I'm like, okay, that could work. But when you're the first goaltender drafted, it's going to be something. I mean, Sebastian Cossa there for the Detroit Red Wings is that same way. You're the first goaltender of the draft. You are expected to do well.
You're scarred by Rick DiPietro. I'm scarred by the guy that was picked a year ahead of him, 6th overall. You ever heard of Brian Finley?
The name rings a bell because of the fact that I think I've talked about this for someone else on some other show. But yeah, you can't draft goaltenders that high. I'm sorry. Tom Barrasso was an anomaly. That's the only guy. Oh, we lost Peyton. Peyton, you're muted. Oh boy, he's figuring
Oh.
stuff out.
Got it?
There
there we
you
go.
are.
Okay. I was gonna say Marc-Andre Fleury is an anomaly. So
Oh well, he's an anomaly. Geez, yeah, 30 some odd years old, end of his career, Vezina Trophy winner. But did you have a question, Alex? I thought you were pointing at something.
I was going through a lot of the different news around the.
Hey,
the team.
talk about that, Alex. Before we get to
About
I
this,
thought he was searching long and hard for Predators prospects. There's not many of them.
No. I have
traded all the draft picks away, Peyton. That's
I
what
have
happened.
I have a full list right here.
Get to that news, then we'll get to the big national news that happened over the weekend with Peyton. Peyton, we're talking about other stuff too, by the way,
Yes.
whether you like it or not.
So this
Gonna try.
this news right here.
That news. Well,
Okay,
not
this news.
necessarily news, but just we'll talk about it a little
Well,
bit.
sure.
Since we have him on.
So the 2022 Stadium Series that is being hosted in Nashville at Nissan Stadium. They just recently unveiled the logo for it. How do you feel about Nashville versus Tampa outdoor game? Now, before you answer, I will say, watching the Dallas game with Nashville, for one, since it's at the Cotton Bowl, was fantastic.
And Corey Perry's walk was hilarious.
Corey Perry's walk of shame was hilarious. Was it Corey? No,
Yeah,
it was
Corey
yeah, it
Perry.
was Corey Perry's.
I wouldn't have said it if I was wrong.
Well, sometimes you can be.
I'm never wrong, Alex. I am 100% correct all the time.
Nevertheless, are you excited for this game? And if so, are you going to be going?
Nashville has waited quite a while to get an outdoor game, and of course, I think I actually got to attend the NHL All-Star Game back in 2016, and that was really the emergence of Smashville. I mean, everybody knew about it, but then that was really the moment Smashville took off, and then they hosted the Stanley Cup Final a year later. I almost went to the Cotton Bowl in 2020. I was very excited about it. My family bought tickets for the game, and then we realized it really was not going to work out with me or my brother's work schedules driving back from Dallas. So we sold our tickets last minute. Yeah, so
I mean, you probably got a good penny off them.
I believe he did not get back what he paid.
I guarantee you
My
did.
dad
If you pay or sell them last minute, yeah, you're getting anything you can out of it.
Well, it wasn't exactly last minute, but it was kind of, I don't. To my knowledge, he did not get back what he spent. But anyway,
Yep, drink break. Everyone take a drink break.
Yeah, sorry. So I had to watch it in my grandmother's living room instead. Will I be going to the Stadium Series? I plan on it. First off, I should state my intentions as well of moving back to Nashville.
Ooh.
I am pursuing employment in Nashville. It's not been locked down yet, but I'm trying.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna knock on wood
So if
for
I'm
you.
there, you better bet your ass I'll be there.
This we got to go to Nashville.
Heck yeah!
Get some hot chicken that Peyton says is overrated. I have to try it to be the judge of it, but
Oh, for Pete's sake.
I have to try it. I got to know.
This guy that refuses to eat any sort of Nashville hot chicken.
Because it's not in
stays down
Nashville. It's Grand Rapids Nashville hot chicken. It's not Nashville hot chicken.
Tyler, you look like the kind of guy that would die immediately after eating hot chicken, so I'm not sure.
Buddy,
Well,
do you know my
actually,
diet? It's like
half
Cholula,
half of our
Slappy
family
Mama.
is Spanish, so
Mm.
I'm gonna
We're
bring
the
some green
other
chili
white
stew down,
It was
Peyton.
more
We're gonna have
of
a talk.
slenderness joke, but
oh yeah, no, he's gonna sweat. He's gonna.
Oh,
sweat
I
for days.
sweat profusely. Like I get if you give me mustard on a hot day, sweat. It just
No, he's gonna.
I got
he's
that's
gonna
my
look like he
grandfather
ran
right
a
there.
half
I got that from my
marathon.
pops. I got that from him.
I will say this: everybody says Hattie B's is bad. It's not original hot chicken, but I think it's got the best flavor. They put brown sugar in it, and it's not bad.
Okay, you writing
I think
that
they've
down?
actually gone down in quality in recent years, but
Well, apparently we can't write it down. Never mind. Don't listen to him.
No, I'll still write.
Is
it
this
down.
something we got to go to Yelp for?
No, I'll write it down. I have no
if you go there,
problem
you will
eating.
stand in line forever.
Ah,
I have no problem eating numerous amounts or like unquestionable amounts of hot chicken.
We gotta
Because
find
for
the bar
one,
that
I like
PK
chicken
Subban
and
sang
I like
at.
spicy food.
we got to find
So-
the bar that
Now,
PK.
as
What?
far as barbecue goes, let's not forget I'm a Memphis guy. That's where I grew up in the Memphis area originally.
Sure.
So I'm a little bit more partial to that. But the best Nashville barbecue, without a doubt, is Martin's.
Martin's in Nashville.
We're gonna
Duly
get
noted.
fat if we go down to Nashville.
Well, that's the point.
Kelly's gonna want to walk around, do all this fun stuff. I'm like, I can't move.
Well, that's the point of the walk-in. You got to balance it out, man. You have the
don't-
good food,
You don't know how
then
I
you go
eat.
walk.
You forget how I
around.
eat barbecue or spicy food. Like I just don't want to move.
Nah,
That's just how I am.
you just got to
Wait,
marinate.
Have you
a
guys
little
ever had fried catfish? Is that a thing up there at all?
bit. Yes,
Okay.
it is. It is
It's a thing, but it's not as common.
No, we have different fish up here, but we have our fair share of VFWs and veterans homes that love
we
a
got
good fish fry.
Lent. Listen, the only reason why we honor Lent here is because all the lovely fish fries they have around here. Not because of the fact that it is the time when the Lord and Savior gave up 40 days and 40 nights of fasting. Nope, we do it because we like the fish.
We do like the fish.
Like felt the fish.
I've got a lot. I'm a man of faith. I got a lot to repent to God about because I always mess up on Lent. It never fails.
Oh, I'm always burgers on Friday night. My dad's like, "What are you eating tonight?" Salad.
I'm not Catholic. I'm Methodist, and that's stripped down Catholic.
Yeah. We were raised Catholic, so that's why we can handle our alcohol for the most part because we've been drinking since we were 8 years old.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's kind of how it is.
We're from the Midwest. That's another thing.
That's another thing too. Let's hit some national stuff, Alex.
Yes, let us. Okay, well, I guess I'll just keep down the list of national stuff.
I said national stuff.
Oh,
national
stuff. You want to go through this bit?
Stuff
then?
that's going through the league in general.
Okay, so you want to go through this bit then?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you want to hit on first? Do you want to go?
Let's
Canucks
hit
or-
on something. Let's hit on the Vegas stuff first. I think that's going to be a big thing.
the Vegas stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about that first. I think it's going to take up quite a second.
Well, so because this regards to Robin Leonard, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Peyton, did you saw about this right with Robin Leonard over the weekend? The series.
Yeah, but I don't know what to make of it. Man, he just went off.
So, well, this is the origin of Robin Leonard's tweets. If you don't know what it is, just look up Robin Leonard's Twitter. He's still on there because Robin Leonard is becoming slowly the most outspoken player in the National Hockey League. And for the most part, at least in my view, people may get mad at me for this, I think it's for the better. His first things that he says, this is the first tweet. There is a list of tweets, but this is the big one. Is it common for workplaces to give out benzies as they're called, and Ambients to employees when they travel, and Ambien should that not be done by doctors or psychiatrists asking for a friend? This doesn't happen in Vegas, to be clear, but I know many other teams I have been on, or I also have been on teams that do. He's not the best at doing the grammatical sense. It's kind of like an old man on Facebook, but it kind of makes sense for the most part.
Well, when you're angry tweeting, it's not always the
Tweeting out. I've never seen it before.
It's not always the most coherent of thoughts.
So long story short, Robin Leonard is calling out the NHL and the NHLPA and certain trainers for medical malpractice. Now there has been
NHL teams, not the NHL in certain.
Well, yes, but
he
to
did
the point.
in his tweets. He also reached out to the NHLPA saying, "You have my number. I can tell you things." Basically,
the NHL has also has said they reached out to him. They're going to talk to him about it, and pretty much, long story short, it's in regards to the fact that the way Jack Eichel has been treated by the Buffalo Sabres, and therefore saying that the fact that Eichel's medical opinion doesn't matter because it's not in cohesiveness with his team that he plays for. Because technically, under the current CBA, the team on any medical operation has the final say. So pretty much, long story short, they determine what the player's allowed to do medically.
He called out the Philadelphia Flyers and Allen.
Called out Alain Vigneault, calling him a pill pusher. The thing is this. Having played low-level minor league hockey, there are drugs in the locker room. There are banned substances in the locker room. Both homegrown and both, I don't know how the hell they make it. But and that's the thing. It's there. But Leonard is trying, and because there are some teams, Tom Sestito, who didn't play a whole lot in the NHL, but he bounced around quite a bit. He said while there were some teams that were doing that, kind of saying, hey, this will help you get better, Xanax, this will help you sleep, whatever. He also said, particularly the Pittsburgh Penguins, saying they helped him get off of those kind of things. And Peyton, it's just another thing that's added over the last 18 months of this National Hockey League of the dark stuff kind of coming to the surface here. But at the same token, while it is bad, it's given a bad light to the league. The idea and the purpose of all this information coming out and the accusations Robin Leonard's putting out here is to hopefully make the league a better place.
A lot of it had to do earlier with the racism and the bullying culture of hockey, and now we're in the drug part of it, and
jammed in the middle of the Chicago Blackhawks.
We're dealing with that. Yeah, we're dealing with the situation with the Blackhawks, and we're dealing with the Buffalo Sabres holding out on Jack Eichel and telling them basically, well, we're going to tell you what to do with your body and you can shove it.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a surgery that's going to fuse your neck together and ruin your neck's mobility. Have fun making Team USA. So,
gosh, that's the worst part too. He was going to be on Team USA. Eichel would have been had he been healthy.
Yeah, I mean, he was our hope for China. Hopefully, he still is. But that's crazy, and it's very, I don't know the word here. I mean, I guess let's use a simple one: cruel to not allow Jack to have the surgery. He's just become a pawn. We're all waiting for this to happen. One more thing, like, oh, what's going to happen with the hockey team? Well, what's going to happen with Jack Eichel? He's sitting around day after day with a busted neck, and he's not able to do anything about it. We all listen to 31, now 32 Thoughts, the podcast, and Elliot Friedman made a great point. The NHL's got to step in and do something about this. This has dragged on for way too long, and this has prompted Robin Lehner and hopefully many others to speak out on this issue.
Yeah, and I think an important thing that, I mean, I've heard, multiple takes on this because...
You want to hear my take?
Not quite.
No.
Not quite.
We don't have 3 hours,
but
unfortunately.
just preparing to get back into like the show and the swing of things, making sure that I was at one way or another prepared to do this.
Thank you.
You're welcome. A lot of people have been looking at this one of two ways. One of the way of, it's great that there's a whistleblower inside the league, whether it be just for one team or as a total. You saw a player like Matt Dumba doing this with, the more BLM stuff, especially during the bubble, and the I can't remember the name of the organization that they're like actually a part of, or he is.
Ooh, sorry.
But, Matt Dumba.
Oh, Minnesota.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, not that, but like the
the black. Oh gosh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I can't remember the name of it, therefore I'm not going to name it, but it's out there. But there's also other people that were criticizing Robin
Hockey
Lehner.
Diversity Alliance.
That's the one. Robin Lehner, they were comparing him basically to like the now age Tim Thomas, of this really weird goalie who is just spewing off a bunch of nonsense.
That's
and
the accusation there.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, because if you think about it, with everything that's been made public about Robin Lehner and how he's been able to process things professional, going throughout his career, he's been labeled as one of these guys that he doesn't keep his mouth shut. I think that's always something, or it's not always like something that you should be ashamed of. But there's like the two sides of it. Peyton, I know I'm just throwing a bunch of stuff at you, so I want to make sure that you're like well prepared to make some sort of like remark on it. What is your viewpoint of Robin Lehner as one of these guys that's still in the league, not kind of similar to Dan Carcillo, who's out of the league right now, but someone who's in the league that is kind of exposing the cobwebs in the closet that's behind the trainer's office that nobody has access to except for if you have this key code button kind of issues. What are your your perceptions of Robin Lehner being listed as one of these guys?
Well, kind of flipping it just a little bit, we talk about the points that he's brought up, and they're all great points. My question is, why does it always have to be him? Why there's no one else willing to step up? There's no one willing to, it kind of just shows the issue with hockey culture. I feel like if you look at other leagues, the NBA, their star players are so very outspoken.
Mm-hmm.
And there's many reasons why the NBA is just about top dog in this country, and the NHL is very distant away from that. So I really don't have much to add to that other than that. But it's just like, why does it always have to be Robin Lehner? Which we know about Robin. He went through a lot of this stuff himself.
Yeah.
He had to fight off mental illness. He had to fight off falling out of favor with organizations and to bounce back from that. So that's probably why you're seeing this. And he's, to a degree, he doesn't really have anything to lose because he's had difficulties in his life where he's lost many things. So it's a shame that it has to be just him that's doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
I think a portion of it has to be the fact that since he does come from having a history with regard to these kind of topics and being familiar with it, it's kind of like the easy thing to do is you're putting yourself on behind the horse of, a horse that's been around the bend. It's not just some new guy or a player that you wouldn't really expect to say anything like this, or oh my goodness, I didn't even know that he had issues with alcoholism on the road. That
It'd
kind
be
of
like
stuff.
if like Sidney Crosby came out and said something. I mean, the
Right.
world would be set ablaze because first of all, oh my gosh, the star of the league, one of the biggest names in hockey, says this. Oh boy, I mean, and that's why and to your point, Peyton, you're right. Why is it just Robin Lehner? And the answer, best one I can give right now, I rarely ever do this. I don't know. I really don't know why people don't want to say more. Obviously, there probably are some players that are afraid of ruffling feathers. Robin Lehner, I think, despite all the troubles he had before, has always shown that he's fearless.
Well, and
whether it be the way he plays, but then once he kind of got through it, and I think once he kind of brought out his story, I think he realized that he can be a tool to help. He uses his platform to help try to, even as controversial as it may be, he tries to help bring light to things that people just try to brush underneath the rug, and hopefully no one notices it. Yeah. He's doing that. I don't know there's many players that are willing to do it. Obviously, there's a lot of people that have had public support for him now that have come out and said it. But to your point, Peyton, I don't know why there's more players that don't do this. Obviously, there are some guys that are scared because they may lose their jobs over this.
Well, and let's be real, though. I mean, Robin Lehner's not saying like timing's a whole thing, but Robin Lehner's making these statements after Marc-Andre Fleury is in Chicago now. It's not like he is battling for a spot, so he does have a sense of job security, which in any case may be.
Well, he did this when him and Fleury were together.
That is fair. That is fair. But in any case, I don't think it's for him at least. The NHL has said that they're not starting in any sort of investigation or making any more public statements on the topic after they have these conversations and the interviews with Robin Lehner himself.
Yep.
Just because, for one, they want to make sure, like, all right, what do you have? What proof do you have of this? Are you just spewing a bunch of nonsense on the internet? If so, if you're spewing a bunch of nonsense, we need to cut the crap right there. If you aren't spewing a bunch of nonsense, this is something that we need to lock down, investigate it, because, I mean, Peyton, for you, I mean, or Tyler, you as well, as people who are in the sports media, if I was a journalist, especially for whether it's Vegas or if it was just the league in general, and I'm calling around to teams being like, hey, what do you know? The one thing I wouldn't be asking, what do you know, is there something I should know? And is there anything that would put me in a place of legal, involvement if I did know this?
Right.
Because that's another thing too, because if it comes to a whole investigation, then there's legal, things thrown in there. I'm no legal expert, but one thing I've always been told is if there's stuff going down, don't tell me about it because I don't want to be involved. So I just want to throw that in there because at the very least I want to make sure that you had your 2 cents on it, because this is a troubling topic at the very least, not only just for this one incident, but like you said, we're seeing a lot of stuff within the past few years within the NHL of why aren't players talking out more or speaking out more? Why is it only a select few players? Racism within the sport, hazing and that kind of stuff at, numerous levels.
Well, and again, I think it boils down to hockey culture, and there's that, and then you think about the vaccination thing. A lot of guys didn't get vaccinated for the reasons you and I did. They did it just because, my teammates did it, and I don't want to miss games.
Duncan Keith, that's one. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just a lot wrong with hockey culture right now. And I think it's something that's never going to fully go away. And to a degree, there is some good with hockey culture, but, man, a lot of this is just archaic and needs to go by the wayside.
Yeah, it's also, hockey's in that weird spot. It's almost to the tier of the NFL and the NBA are kind of at one level. NBA, like you said, top tier as far as leagues in the United States. As much as I hate to say it, and I love the NHL, NHL is not the best league in this country. NBA is the top tier
in terms of how it's ran and whatnot.
Yeah, even skill level. Let's be real.
I will fight you.
Hey, comparatively, we can talk about it, but in any case, NBA is very, very entertaining as far as the skill level, that kind of stuff.
Hey, can we talk about the fact that Pierre Engvall just scored a goal in the second period?
Hey, fantastic.
At the 2 minute and 22 second mark.
Hey, good job.
Can I just say?
But
Look, a change of
hockey,
topic.
hockey and baseball are kind of at this one level where they're so still rooted in like how things used to be ran, even though there's been huge strides towards progress and how things have changed and how different players, whether they're European players, are now, if not more prevalent, one of the most prevalent parts of the game in comparison to, or being at a comparable status of being, United States players, Canada players, North America. But there's this thing that's tying them back. For some reason, you just can't get out of those, the old boys club, the tradition of hockey, similar to baseball, that kind of thing. And it is a little bit upsetting. Or not even a little bit upsetting. It is upsetting because you have to have these tough conversations that other leagues have had. I think I said that correctly.
I think so.
I think so. And it's just now it's, in our court, and it seems like it's not going to where it's supposed to be. You can compare it to, how the NHL was, doing things with, going through like the Black Lives Matter movement versus the NBA. Now you could say, well, I mean, there's a lot less, players of African American descent, that kind of stuff versus, NBA. But in any case, there's always been, you're comparing it to other leagues, and it's just not stacking up, if that makes sense.
And you add to it, too, the guys overall are afraid to show their personality. This is something me and Tyler talked about.
Oh, yeah.
The NHL and TNT, they brought in Paul Bissonnette to be their Charles Barkley. And, of course, a lot of people feel how they do about Paul. He's really off on Paul. I'm a little bit okay on Paul, but obviously I'm not a Chicklets guy by any means. But
Tyler just hates Barstool, so continue.
But if you take him off and you want your Charles Barkley type, who are you going to get?
Wayne Gretzky.
No.
Yeah. No, I mean,
There is your ball of personality.
But seriously, Paul Bissonnette was kind of like the only guy that has such an outward personality, in a league that's had over 30 teams now.
Yeah,
Right?
it's
it's
tough.
You get where I'm going with that, but
No, it is odd, and it's so, you're right, to your point, because that's the thing. It's hey, we want more personality, we want more of this, we want more of that. When Matthew Tkachuk says, "Oh yeah, Brady Tkachuk's contract negotiations, yeah, we're all in this. He's a Tkachuk." He's letting people know how he feels about it. Everyone's like, "Whoa, Matthew, that's a little too much there." And it's like, don't ask and then be mad when you get it.
Right.
And that's the hard part, and that's
and
why
a lot of people hated PK Subban
Oh
because
my
of his
gosh.
outwardness. So
don't get me started on the Boston Bruin fan base. Listen.
Not even Boston Bruins fans. I mean,
Well,
the only reason
well,
why
that-
I didn't.
well, you remember that.
Predators fans.
Yes,
Well,
exactly.
yeah. Well, Nashville
A lot
Predators
of people
fans.
still say he's lazy.
Well,
I personally didn't
the last
like
couple of
PK
years.
Subban just because I thought he skated funny. That was literally it. It wasn't, because of, the way he dressed or how he acted on social media. I thought that stuff was entertaining. Come to the rink with a suit and this nice floppy hat looking like you're going to the frickin' Derby. I love that. But you skate funny. And that, I don't know why. I just didn't like that.
Well, the thing, he's going to be a guy that, like,
He could be the Charles Barkley of hockey. Absolutely.
He's going to be, like I said, when he retires, when he finally hangs him up, he is going to have a career.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
He will be, and it'll be, he's fit for it.
You know what we need?
With PK Subban on the show, you're right. That would save the show, Alex. That'll bring us back.
That would save the show. But
Tequila Show with PK Subban.
With NHL and TNT, they need all these personalities, right? Let's get Paul Bissonnette on the show. And then also, we need, like, the stoner type, right? Let's pull in Darren McCarty.
Oh, good
and
Lord.
put him on there.
Have him. Darren, is it true that you smoked pot in a high school hockey locker room once?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't
did,
go to
yeah, I
I wouldn't go that far as like, what.
I didn't know where the
everything
hell I
we did,
was. But yeah,
I had a good time.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch the NHL and TNT the other night?
No, I didn't.
Oh, they did a preseason game?
Yeah, they did 2 preseason. It's not bad. It's not bad. Their theme's kind of It grows on you.
Okay,
the
listen.
graphics are clean and crisp, and
I think all of us growing up is the fact that I think we were spoiled. We grew up on 2 themes. We grew up on, for those in Canada, for our viewers in Canada, it was the original Hockey Night in Canada theme. The original one. Bam, 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 bam.
Sure.
And then us down here in the States, it was NHL on ESPN, or I like NHL on ABC too. But NHL on ESPN was the theme. So when they brought it back, it was good. It was the fact that, like, yes, good thing you have this back, because if you had done anything different, we would have had to have strangled you. We would have lost you. And Payne, I mean, we've gone back and forth about the NHL TV deals, so I think it's going to be I think it's going to be good. And I'm excited to see all the games on ESPN Plus, similar to how they do with like the MLB, which means I get to watch all the games, which means I don't have to try to bootleg the Washington Capitals games because I kind of have to react to those and whatnot. But I think they have a good setup now. I was a little pessimistic at first, but I'll give it a chance.
Right. With that, Peyton, we are going to let you go because it is 8:16. We're trying to get you around.
We got to tell you, Peyton, to kick rocks.
No, we're not telling you to kick rocks. Before you go, though, I want to give you a couple seconds to shout out your show and tell a couple, the people what to expect,
and where you can listen to it.
I can do that, or I can quickly tell my story of the couch game.
Oh, yes.
Couch game.
Totally forgot. Okay, so I don't know if Harrison's listening to this, but I'm sure I'm going to send it to him because if you guys remember early on the show, if you missed it, it's okay. This show will be on demand on the Keel Show YouTube channel and your favorite podcatcher.
Continue.
Peyton texted me and ask about the couch game, which was regards to the time Ferris and Alabama Huntsville played in Alabama when Harrison Watt was about 10 minutes that way in his apartment. Peyton.
And leading up to the game, Harrison called me and was like, hey, what about if you put a microphone in the rink and then just feed the audio to me and I'll use that? I was like, okay, cool, except there is a massive delay if we do that.
That's true.
So he was kind of up a creek without a paddle, God bless him. So for me that night, the local ESPN radio station decided to put the Chargers on radio for the first time in years. And so we're getting ready to go. They put this like little machine next to me and the guy just says, okay, whenever you're ready, start it up and we'll go. Well, we lost power upstairs leading up to the game. And everyone is scrambling. All the WCHA guys, the scorers and everything. Then they get everything back up and running, and everyone's like, hooray, we're good. Well, I wasn't. I still had no connection to the call box. And I didn't know what the hell to do, so I called the guy at the station, and we're like, we're getting up to puck drop. And I'm troubleshooting everything, and then he goes, well, I guess it's not plugged in. And surely enough, the WCHA replay official had yanked my internet cord out of the thing.
Oh, I would have kicked somebody. I would have fought somebody.
The puck is on the ice. They are playing hockey, and I'm on the phone with this guy standing up. Sam Baldwin, my boss, was like, what are you doing? I don't pay you for this. And so we still had the flow broadcast going on, so I had to abandon the radio and just do the game, and we got the radio part working, I think about 12 minutes into the game, like right after UAH scored the first goal. And then after that, of course, as Harrison mentioned, UAH tied it with 2 seconds left and won in overtime. So
yeah,
if you go back and look at my Instagram, which is back, by the way, Instagram is back.
El Patron.
Shall we bow down to our corporate overlords? Harrison's worst night of calling hockey was my best night. The greatest announcing moment of my life.
With the best camera angle of all time.
Boy. He talks about the camera angles, but man, the worst part was the graphics. They always popped up the make some noise, make some noise.
Yeah, we've gone over that. Yeah.
Throughout the game. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. But, yeah, thrilling times ahead. As far as the Predator Way goes, you can catch it on SoundCloud, on the Penalty Box Radio SoundCloud. It's going to be part of a number of podcasts there. We also, again, are on iTunes at the Predator Way, or Apple Podcasts, whatever, Spotify, wherever you get your stuff. I'm sure we got it. And, I mean, there's not much to say other than me and Boyd Farish, feature writer for Penalty Box Radio, talk about the Predators.
It'll be fun to listen to. Peyton, this is my part where I do my thing.
Yes.
Peyton, it's funny. Like, I say this like I'm saying goodbye forever to these guys. I'm literally probably going to text Peyton like 2 hours.
Yeah,
probably that's how it's going to be.
I'll never talk to you again just to make this appropriate.
Just he's gonna ghost me for the rest of my days.
Good.
Fine. Then you don't have to go call 12 games in a day and somewhere in Missouri for a tournament for hockey TV. Tell me how that feels. Probably doesn't mind that at all.
Probably doesn't mind.
Peyton, thank you by the way, I should probably have thanked Harrison for this, because Harrison's the reason why I got Peyton's number. Because the only reason, and it's unfortunate, the only reason why I got a hold of Peyton and wanted him on this show was because of the fact that Alabama Huntsville's program was cut and then brought back again. So I'm like, hey, let's go bring on their broadcaster. 15 episodes appearance later. Thank you for taking time out of your days. I know the pandemic has been nuts, which probably was beneficial for us, I think, for the most part.
It was.
But for taking the time, for willingly coming on this show. You say I keep you relevant, dude. The fact that you come on and make the show fun, the interviews we have fun, like I'm just happy that you were willing to come back again and again and again and didn't get bored on this show. Because there's some people that make all-time parents. They're like, okay, here we go again.
Sure.
And not necessarily on this show. We make everything fun on this show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But the fact that I could text you, Peyton, we have a show in 2 hours. You busy? And you just come on. Like, I can't thank you enough for that. You make it interesting. You make it fun. And I thank you so much for being a part of this. I'm doing all this crap, and I'm like, we're going to be back in like 2 months. That's
Maybe.
it.
Real quick, I got to point out, the first time you had me on, I was going through a breakup that day.
Oh, good Lord. And I thought that was a fun show.
I had to kind of get it together to
this dang Yankee up north. Okay.
I'll say this, thank you for making time for me. As I still and all when I'm on these shows, but I think you've helped me make me become a better podcast guest. That's really prepared me to do the podcast I'm doing now, and I really have you to thank for that. So I appreciate it, and best of luck with Locked On Capitals. Alex, hopefully you've memorized my name by now.
Absolutely.
Peyton Turner.
Oh my
God,
I
you
will
idiot.
Not till
You
the day
idiot.
I die.
You said that so confidently too.
You also called Brandon Batchelor Brandon Batchelor. I remember that. Remember the Canucks broadcaster? You said it was supposed to be Brendan. You said Brandon. Brandon Batchelor. Oh, I love Brandon. He's a cool guy. But yes, Alex, do you have any final words for
No,
Mr.
I mean
Turnage?
every single time that you've been on the show, well, I've been on at the very least, has always been a good conversation. You know, we talk majorly about Nashville because you're the Nashville guy. You're not the Nashville guy. That's not all you are.
No, he is.
but
He's the TKS Nashville insider.
Sure.
I guess. But,
But everything we've been able to talk about, whether it's Nashville, whether it's Alabama Huntsville, whether it's about having your away broadcaster doing stuff on a couch and then losing power, and you find out, well, it's this one dingus that decided
the
to ruin
steak
everything
and
for me.
WCHA dingus. They wanted you guys out of there.
We've had some great conversations, and I've been happy to have you on the show, happy to be on the show while you're on the show, and then also being able to listen to you and Tyler go after it. And I will say that any sort of argument that you guys have had, I think you definitely win each one that I've been able to listen to. So I do appreciate
got a little
you
brown
being
on your
the
nose
show.
there,
Get out.
kid.
Get the frick out of here.
Oh man.
You got to brown nose the guest. You got to let them know. That way, if you do ask them to come back, they're like, wow, you just completely bashed me on your
Peyton, you were
last
the worst
show."
thing ever. We only had you on because I don't know why we ever thought of it.
We needed to have a southern expertise in there and a little bit of southern flair. But in any case, I do appreciate you being on the show, and yeah, we'll keep in touch. We'll keep
Absolutely.
in touch.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys. I'll say real quick, I tried like hell in the summer for full-time play-by-play job. It didn't quite work out, but as
Wichita Falls in the North American League is looking for somebody.
Oh boy, don't tempt me with a good time. But as I say, gigless but not hopeless. But you've not seen the last or heard of the last of Peyton Turnage. Maybe in college hockey, but yeah, it's been a fun ride. And again, I can't thank you guys enough for having me on. It was always a pleasure coming on here. And like I said, as a man of faith, God bless you guys. You've got you got it made. So I'll be praying for you guys moving forward.
You as well, Peyton, man.
Thank you
Thanks
very
again,
much.
man. That was Peyton Turnage, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Predator Way, guys. Check it out. So we're not done yet.
No,
We are going to sign off here on 12 Ounce Sports.
and then we're gonna go transfer to the YouTube channel. So make sure to go to the Keel Show on YouTube.
Or the Twitter.
Or the Twitter.
Facebook's still down, unfortunately.
Facebook is still down because we have nice little whistleblower.
But we'll be on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. The reason Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. The reason why, kids, is because we probably should thank the folks at 12 Ounce Sports. That
yes.
Jeff Janner's one that brought us in. A lot of the guys that we had on. Talking Myers with the Rando is next. He's a guy that's been a part of our show a couple of times. I've been on his show a couple of times. we must thank them because the fact that they allowed us to be live 2.5 hours every Monday night and then during the playoffs on Thursdays is just completely bonkers. Like, no one should have taken this show on ever in any stretch.
This was something that, we'll go through the whole goodbye. So make sure to go on to those outlets that we talked
At 12
about.
ounce. Oh yeah, check that out. At 12 ounce sports, by the way, if you follow them, they have a lot of great shows, guys. Please go check them out.
Yeah,
they are
not
awesome.
just hockey. They do have all sorts of sports on there and all sorts of leagues. Do go check them out. They do have good content. We wouldn't, be giving them all the praise, not just because they were very gracious for us to be on their network, whether it was on Zingo TV, whether it was on the Facebook, whether it was on their Twitter, anything like that. Go check them out on their YouTube page. They do have all sorts of great content and that's why we're saying, because they do have it. I've been able to watch other shows with all sorts of other insights to other sports. So do go check them out. We do thank them. We also do want to make sure that you do go over to those pages because we will be thanking all of our other sponsors, that kind of stuff, as well as doing our official goodbye. For 12 Ounce Sports, for Tyler, we'll be going on to the channel here as he's trying to figure out how to get the sign off ready to go.
I don't know what I'm
going to
doing.
keep talking until he does. I'm going to feel this